Good evening. I'm going to call to order the regular city council meeting for March 24th, 2026. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Adler. Here. Councilmember Duenat.
Present.
Councilmember Veros.
Here.
Vice Mayor Rubio.
Here.
And Mayor Armstrong.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. It'll be led by Oliver Chen from Troop 1776. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, Oliver, and thank you, Troop 1776, for being here tonight. All right, Madam Clerk, what's the next item?
Next item on the agenda is announcements. Item 3.1, changes and additions to the agenda. There are none. If you wish to speak under public comment or regarding an agenda item, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room and submit it to the city clerk.
All right, thank you. At this time, we're going to go into public comment. I'm going to open up public comment. If you wish to address the city council, you may do so on any non-agenda item related to the business of the city council. You can speak on items that are on the consent calendar, including a request to pull an item from the consent calendar and the reason why you wish to pull the item or items. And please note that the decision to remove the item from the consent calendar is strictly at the discretion of the city council. You can request to speak on items of future agenda items. You can speak on special presentation items under section 6 of tonight's agenda. We have one item under section 6. You can also speak on items that are not on the agenda, but are within the city council's jurisdiction. Please be reminded that while the city ensures the First Amendment rights of its citizens, we do not accept nor endorse any offensive or hateful comments made during our meetings. The city celebrates the diversity of our community, and we strive to be a welcoming and open community for all. If you wish to speak under public comment or regarding an agenda item, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room and submit it to the city clerk. While we encourage your comments, unfortunately, state law prevents the city council from discussing items that are not on the meeting agenda. The city council does take them very seriously, however, and if appropriate, staff will follow up. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. And you'll notice we have a new calendar that's visible below the camera behind me that will help you with the timer countdown. So with that, public comment is open. So do we have any speaker cards?
We do. Our first speaker is Frenchonette Bryant.
We have the microphone on, Joan. Okay. You can pull that microphone a little closer to you if you need to.
Good evening. Can you
Good
hear me clearly? Okay. Hello, my name is Frenchonette Bryant, and I am an AI consultant, architect, and community educator here in Contra Costa County. First of all, good evening, Mayor and everyone. Good evening. I hope everybody is doing well. I specialize in helping everyday people, especially seniors, small business owners, and community members, learn how to use artificial intelligence, like tools like ChatGPT, in simple, practical ways. Right now, many people in our community are being left behind in this fast-moving digital shift. Seniors are trying to keep up, small businesses are trying to adapt, and many residents simply don't know where to start. And I am here for a solution. I provide beginner-friendly, hands-on workshops that help people learn how to use AI for everyday tasks, such as writing, communication, organization, and even starting or growing their business. I'm currently in the process of connecting with the local libraries across Contra Costa County to support digital literacy and AI education at the community level. I would love the opportunity to return for a formal presentation or partner with the city and the libraries to bring these workshops to the community. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to serving.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Greg Carr.
You're back.
Greg Carr, who the hell is he? Greg Carr, San Ramon resident for a long time. Tonight, there's a device in front of the rostrum here and one that's above the mayor, as he pointed out. You don't have to look left or right. You can be neutral to look at the thing. And what it shows is that the city council and staff do pay attention, albeit even on small things. And that's a nice thing to have. So I thank you for doing that. And I also want to remind the people who speak before the city council something that I think I spoke of last year. I'm going to do it again, probably do it until I croak, because I think it's important. Remember, these 5 people are elected by all of us. They represent a majority, 4 of them in their districts, and 1 of them is citywide. You may not agree with them. I don't all the time, but you have to do 2 things. You have to respect them for their position because they ran for public office. For those of you who have never done that behind me or on the camera, that's no small thing. I've done that. I know what that's like. And I have respect for people who do that, even if I don't agree with them, because it takes a lot. And then after they get an office, it takes a lot more. And all 5 of these people know what that's like. So when you come down, stick to the 3 minutes. Try not to cram 10 pounds of information in a 3-minute bag. And treat them with respect. And they, in return, if you act civilly and speak forthright, yet with respect, they will respect you back. If they don't, there's other options, but I don't see that in the eyes of these 5 people that sit here before me. So watch the red TikTok and remember, this is a collegial effort on the part of you in the audience, you on the TV, even though you should be down here, because this is a big room, and the city council and the city staff. And if we all treat each other collegially, with respect, say what we feel, give enough information to comprehend it, we will survive this. 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Suhani Goyal.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Suhani Goyal, and I'm a member of the San Ramon Teen Council. Today, however, I'm speaking in my personal capacity, and the views I share are completely my own. I want to start by acknowledging something positive. San Ramon is one of the few cities that has invested in a teen council, which already shows a commitment to youth voice. However, as the city faces a $17.6 million budget deficit, we are seeing essential youth programs being scaled back. Today, I'm here to propose a way that the Teen Council can help fill in those gaps directly at 0 cost to the city. Currently, the Teen Council is structured strictly as an advisory body. This means that we spend months researching great ideas only to see them remain ideas. For example, the 2024 to 25 Teen Council ambassadors developed proposals on teen internships and cultural events. These were high quality and well-researched ideas, but they stalled simply because our current bylaws don't allow us the formal authority of implementation. We have a group of 17 dedicated students ready to work, but when a role is purely symbolic, we risk losing the interest of the very students who want to make a tangible difference. That brings me to my request. I'd like this council to consider evolving the Teen Council into a hybrid model, one that maintains its advisory role, but also allows for limited program implementation. This could be as simple as an amendment of the Teen Council charge that adds project implementation or project management to its responsibilities. In practice, that would mean students take the lead on outreach and execution, while city staff continue to provide oversight and final approval for safety, liability, and quality. We already have an underutilized asset, which is a joint powers agreement with the SRV USD School District, which allows us to use buildings like the Doherty Valley Station. So we have the space and we have the students ready to work, but what we're missing is the formal green light to actually run the programs that were sidelined by recent staffing reductions. Not to mention, this directly aligns with city goals. Goal 3, Objective 1 specifically calls for city to evaluate the bylaws of its committees and boards. This is a practical head start on that evaluation. And additionally, Goal 5 focuses on enhancing engagement with residents. Transitioning from a symbolic advisory group to an implementation partner is the highest form of engagement that you can offer the youth of San Ramon. We aren't just looking for a seat at the table, we're looking for the tools to build it. We could start with a pilot program prior to a bylaw amendment to make sure that a hybrid model actually works. But ultimately, by making this small change, the council achieves 2 things. Number 1, you fulfill your own objective to modernize city boards. And number 2, you give us a real stake in this city's future. I ask that you direct staff to bring a review of the Teen Council bylaws to a future agenda, and let us show you what the next generation of San Ramon can actually deliver. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And thank you to all the teen council members. Next speaker, please.
Santosh Kanjula.
Evening, Santosh.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Hope you're doing well and having a nice evening. Today, I would like to take a minute of your time, and I would like to commend the City Council for recognizing as a proclamation declaring March 2026 as a NCAPDA, which is the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. And currently, April Rivero and her team are dedicated members for the NCAPDA. They are based in San Ramon, and they perform a life-saving work by transforming the personal tragedy that has happened in her family to outreach to everybody to show that this shouldn't happen to any other parents. I would like to summarize, probably you guys will go over the presentation of the NCAPDA, as well as you guys are very well aware many of the work that April has been doing over the years since 2010. And I would like to just add some impacts that this program does, this nonprofit organization does, from a life-saving distribution, distributing over 10,000 Narcans. And each Narcan, you can think of it as a life-saving measure for a single person. And it has a youth and community education program that it reaches out to different schools. It has an advocacy policy change that it does, and it works together with not just the city, but the state and the Senate. They also have some innovative programs, and that is the main reason I'm here. I try to help in whichever way I can for the NCAPDA. They have a program where they are getting grant from the county and the state regarding the installation of naloxone stands and boxes. And there are many places within the city that are purview within the city, such as many of the fire stations that they can work with, or the police department places where they can install these boxes. So I would like to take up as not just a proclamation, but work individually with your council members and also with the fire department, fire chief, as well as a police chief to get these naloxone stands installed across the city of San Ramon. Thank you very much for your help
All
in
right.
advance, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And yes, we'll be hearing about a special presentation, item 6 tonight's agenda on NCA PDA, and we'll talk about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, please.
Susan Clayton.
Good timing.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Mark Armstrong. My name is Susan Clayton. I've lived in the San Ramon Valley since 2013, with my last 18 months here in San Ramon itself. And I'm a homeowner here, and I'm here to request a change in your commitment to the strategic pacing and transparency of the high-density growth movement. So while I recognize the state mandates and I read all the laws and I understand how we must comply, I'm asking the city to change its pace and slow the roll a little bit. I'm a little nauseous when I'm driving down Camino Ramon and other roads at the rapid pace of this build, and I feel like we're going to overlook major changes to the plan that should be taken into consideration, and I don't see any reason to rush into the concrete jungle when we have an opportunity to adjust our plans based on real-world data. So specifically, I'm looking for school capacity protections. I'm looking for the formal commitment that no school will be forced into double session or overcrowding because of the pop in population growth, and that we adjust with the district and hire the right number of teachers to facilitate the growth. And also, I'm looking for workforce housing protections for the teachers to live in the community. And I'm asking if we have explored reserving units for public teachers who make a 5-year commitment or who are tenured in the district. I'm worried about the commitment to safety with the right number of police and fire and other public work employees, in that I want to see that it's going to keep pace with the population growth. And I'm also worried about neighborhood traffic buffers, because people flow like water and will take the least congested route and, just drive at rapid pace through various neighborhoods and endanger our children and, other pedestrians in the neighborhood. So these are the things that are kind of bothering me. And I'm also very worried about the city's commitment to be a participant in staving off global warming. And I'm not seeing enough landscaped areas, enough green space and tree canopy being preserved in the city to keep the city the way that we've all loved it all these years. So those are my asks, and I did send in a letter, and it's my first time doing this, but thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. And we did get your letter today, so thank you. Next speaker, please.
Helena Klecker.
All right.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Helena Klecker, and I'm speaking on behalf of just myself. I moved to San Ramon 14 years ago because I felt it was a beautiful and safe place. About a year ago, my next door neighbor started stalking me and broke into my apartment. He removed my cat's source of food and left articles of clothing in my bed, to say it politely. I was granted a restraining order that I sought. And police reports were taken seriously only after I got the restraining order. Fair enough. He was my next door neighbor in an apartment, and the restraining order gave me a certain amount of distance. They were forced to move him. They gave him free rent for a month. They gave him a no-fault eviction to relocate. They relocated him on the same property just outside of the 300 feet. every time I go to the mailbox or the office or go do my laundry, I run into him or I see him. I stopped over the last year of leaving my home. It doesn't feel safe. He touched me inappropriately on one occasion. The complex is quite aware of this. And I don't see how this could be allowed in San Ramon. I've done everything I can to protect myself, and this seems to be where I'm at. And I'm asking for direction and help in what to do next, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And I'd like to ask city manager to have someone follow up if we have your contact information. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
There are no more speaker cards. We did receive written public comment from Brian Swanson for consent items 5.2, 5.4, and 5.11, which are before you and in the red folder in the back of the room.
Okay. I acknowledge that written comment and everybody got that written comment? Okay.
Yes.
All right, then I'm going to close public comment. We're going to move on to item 5, which is the consent calendar. Some of those items that were just mentioned are on the consent calendar. We had a request to pull some of the items. Staff packets were fairly comprehensive. Some of those reports are routine annual reports that are in there. Some we've already heard in detail at a public hearing at our last city council meeting. Or else during a finance committee meeting, it's a public meeting. Does any city council member wish to pull any of the consent items? Okay, seeing none, then can I get a motion on the consent calendar?
I move the motion.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Veros, second by Vice Mayor Rubio.
Before the vote, Mayor, we do have an ordinance that needs to be read into the record.
Okay, thank you. Please do that and read by title only for ordinance 537, which is item 5.11.
Ordinance 537, amending Title C, Division C4, Land Development by repealing and replacing Chapter 5, Child Care Fees, Chapter 9, Park and Recreation Facility Impact Fees, Chapter 10, Private Sector Arts and Beautification Contribution Fee, Chapter 11, Open Space Development Impact Fee, Chapter 12, Inclusionary Housing, and Chapter 13, Affordable Housing Commercial Linkage Fee, and by adding Chapter 14, Parkland Development Impact Fee of the City of San Ramon Municipal Code relating to the Adoption Nexus Fee Study for the established fees and amending Title C, Division C5, Subdivision Procedures by repealing and replacing Chapter 10, Parkland Dedication of the City of San Ramon Municipal Code, establishing the applicable Nexus Fee Study and methodology for the calculation of in lieu fees for Parkland Dedication as applicable.
Okay, thank you for reading that. Okay, it's before the council for a vote. Okay, we're voting on items 5.1 through 5.11. Okay, motion passes 5-0. So we'll move on to item 6, special presentation. This is a proclamation declaring March 2026 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. And I have a proclamation. So who's it, Alice or the whole crew? You're gonna all come up? Okay, great. Okay. Get April here today, but thank you for being here today. This proclamation. All right. So this is a proclamation of the City Council of the City of San Ramon declaring March 2026 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. Whereas when used as prescribed by a doctor, prescription medications play a critical role in maintaining the health and well-being of individuals across the United States. And whereas misused and unused prescription medications can lead to accidental poisoning, overdose, and misuse, posing a serious public health challenge. And whereas the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and the state of California encourage safe storage, responsible use, and proper disposal of prescription medication to prevent misuse, diversion, and accidental harm. And whereas in California, opioid overdose deaths and prescription medication misuse continue to impact families, communities, and healthcare systems, highlighting the importance of education and prevention efforts. And whereas synthetic opioids, including counterfeit prescription drugs laced with fentanyl, continue to be a significant driver of fatal overdose, and in 2024, the rate of overdose from fentanyl in Contra Costa County was 10.2 per 100,000 residents, a significant reduction from the 2023 rate of 14.72 per 100,000 residents. And whereas in 2023 in Contra Costa County, there were 447,583 opioid prescriptions given to patients, which is an age-adjusted rate of 313.9 per thousand residents, lower than the state rate of 345.62. And whereas in 2024, a total of 17,083 emergency department visits occurred in California that were related to any opioid overdose, and 332 of those visits occurred in Contra Costa County. And whereas according to the Center for Disease Control, 105,007 drug overdose deaths occurred nationally in 2023. 183 of those were opioid-related overdose deaths that occurred in Contra Costa County. And whereas the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse, NCA-PDA, encourages all community members in the county to participate in Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month activities to raise prescription drug safety awareness. And whereas the DEA's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on April 25th, 2026, provides a special opportunity for residents to safely dispose of unused medications and participate in efforts to prevent prescription drug misuse in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of San Ramon does hereby declare March 2026 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month and encourages all community members to use prescription medications safely, store them responsibly, and properly dispose of those that are unused and expired. Dated March 24th, 2026. Here is the proclamation. I'll hand that to you. All right, and if you ladies want to come over here too? All right, I think somebody's taking a picture of her. Okay. All right, thank you. And the microphone is yours.
Excellent. Hey.
Good evening, Mayor Armstrong, City Council members, staff, and community members. My name is Alice Power, and I'm the project manager with NCA-PDA, the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse. I'm filling in some pretty big shoes today for April Rivero. I met her last year at the San Ramon Art and Wind Festival. I ran over to her booth when I saw she was giving away free naloxone, and I was so encouraged and really inspired that she was working towards a safe San Ramon and that she had such a passion behind it. She started 16 years ago. We are a volunteer nonprofit organization. Our mission is to prevent prescription drug-related substance use disorder and fatal overdose through education programs for both youth and adults of all ages, including overdose rescue training, and we distribute free naloxone rescue kits to those who attend our trainings. Through April's efforts in working with Senator Mark D. Solner. Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month was permanently established through state legislation that was passed on May 8th, 2013, with wide bipartisan support. As time has marched on, prescription drugs are still a problem, but NCAPDA has had to pivot to include counterfeit pills and street drugs potentially laced with fentanyl that are causing the majority of our nation's overdoses. We do have good news. Fatal overdose is down since last year by almost 20%. We believe due to education that we provide, naloxone distribution, substance use disorder treatment, that we give resources out to those who need it, and reduction in drug supply, which is law enforcement. But we're not out of the woods yet. We expect we lost around 70,000 Americans once the data is finalized for 2025. No community is immune, including those in our beautiful San Ramon Valley. Since 2023 through today, EMS data shows OD mapping indicates 4 fatal overdoses in San Ramon Valley, 1 in Alamo, 1 in Danville, and 2 in San Ramon. 115 times EMS was called out to a suspected overdose, and 39 times naloxone was administered for a suspected opioid-related overdose. Clearly, our work here is not done. Currently, I'm working on the naloxone distribution project here in the San Ramon Valley. We really want to get naloxone out to the public free of charge. The boxes serve as a place where people can go to get their free boxes of naloxone. It saves thousands of lives a year, and we are ramping up distribution of it in the San Ramon Valley. We currently have it in the libraries, PDs. We're looking forward to many more places. Please do contact us if you have a suggested high-traffic location that could be used as a good candidate for the unit. Funding available, we have at least 15 units that we're ready to put out there. We encourage everybody in the community to get trained in overdose rescue. We do virtual trainings, we do on-site trainings, we'll do personal trainings. Whatever you want, we'll come to you. We really want to get this life-saving training out to everybody. You can go to our website, ncapda.org, and register. You can also show up to one of our community education events. We will be celebrating and protecting our youth event on 3/31. On 4/25, we'll be at the Child Abuse Prevention event. 4/28 and 4/29 will be at Monte Vista High School health classes. 5/7 and 5/8 will be at Cal High health classes. 5/24 and 25 San Ramon Art and Wind Festival again. And yeah, so thank you so much for this proclamation. It means a lot to us.
All right, thank you, Alice.
Hi, my name is Elaine Cook. I am the Alameda Project Manager for NCA PDA. It's an honor to be here. Just recently, we also were given a proclamation in Dublin as well, so that was incredibly special for us in particular. Very much similar to Alice, we have been going into schools into Alameda County. We just finished up 2 days in Dublin High School doing the 9th grade health classes, doing presentations there. We've been to Castro Valley doing their health fair, and we will also be in Castro Valley Thursday, Friday, doing presentations there as well, and hopefully building up to 200 cases of our naloxone kits. Along with that, I've been working with a parent guide to give out to Alameda parents. I'm looking forward to, utilizing the one that we have in Contra Costa County already and translating that into terms for Alameda County. Along with that, we're working on a collaboration opportunity within Alameda County to be a part of our collaboration and to link, and so we can support other members in our community under a great umbrella of our services. So with that, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and an honor to be a part of NCA PDA.
Thank you, Elaine.
Hi, my name is Laisha, and I'm the Youth Outreach Director with NCA PDA. And I want to begin by thanking the City of San Ramon for taking this moment to recognize March as the Prescription Drug Awareness Month. And having worked with NCAPDA for 3 years now, I've spoken at multiple conferences and presentations and tabling events, and I get to hear about so many individuals, countless individuals, sharing their experiences with substance misuse with me, or friends and family members sharing those experiences with me. And earlier this year, having lost a friend to substance misuse, I truly do appreciate this time being taken to reduce the stigma around this topic and open conversation about all these issues to promote a safer and healthier community for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Leisha. All right, yeah. Good. Don't go too far. I think some of the council members may have something they want to add. Anyone want to add anything? Let me start down. Robert, anything?
Congratulations, well deserved. And I'm a class member of Leadership Center Moan Valley, and some of my classmates are here in the audience. And one of our projects is actually next month, I believe, is to bring awareness to drug addiction and overdose addiction with sending up Narcan booths and handing out, I think it's those free samples, et cetera, right? Yeah. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys and I know I speak on behalf of Leadership Center Ramon. We're looking forward to working with you next month. So thank you so much.
All right, Councilmember Rose.
Thanks to NCAPDA leadership, especially April. We definitely miss her today. Thanks to all your volunteerism in making our community healthier and safer. I have a quick question. So education definitely is one of the important way of making awareness within the community, and that what you are already doing, right? And I had an opportunity to take a training session during Art and Wind Festival, and also got the kit, Naxalon kit. So thanks for all that work. Is there any other means that we can do in addition to this education training, that all the hard work that you're doing? Is there any other things that can we add on to bring this awareness?
That's a really great question. One of the things after we get, in the general places where they're, in police stations and fire departments, we've been talking a lot about restaurants and bars. It's really needed. It's a really great safety tool and a harm reduction tool. I don't know how about going about that, but we really could use a lot of help in doing that, especially around San Ramon Valley. We think it's a good next step for us.
Sounds great. And please let me know how I can support in your efforts. And also, I definitely want to say thanks for all your efforts and work, especially our former council member, Scott Perkins, used to say that you don't know how many lives you save behind the scenes. So thanks once again for your efforts.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And Councilmember Adler, you have anything?
Yeah, thanks for you all being here, Leisha and Elaine and Alice. I guess it takes three to replace April, but you can't really replace her. But I've kind of watched her grow, and she's always trying to get into, the kits. And I think the last time I saw her, I was also in the Leadership San Ramon earlier class, and she spoke to us, and she was getting kits, I think, at DVC. That was kind of her next goal. So she's always got a goal to get that out there. And I just think she's just such an asset, and she is something that, a person that we are very proud of having here in San Ramon, because, as you said, she saved lives. We don't know how many, but she took a tragedy of Joey, her son, and made it into a life-saving operation. And we're just so grateful for her and for you, for all the work you do. So I think that idea about the bars and restaurants, we should follow up on that and see what we need to do to take the next step.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Vice Mayor Rubio.
So thank you first and foremost for everything that you're doing. It does take a team effort, and it's evident in your speeches that you gave today that you've been really working very collaboratively to make all of this happen at the different high schools and trying to expand beyond to capture young folks, right, before something happens, right? So I think it's wonderful that you're actually going to those high schools, educating young people even before that sort of, hopefully capture them before that situation arises in their life for some reason, right?
Absolutely.
So I just really commend you immensely for what you're doing. And likewise, you know, there's so many lives you really are preemptively saving and potentially saving and just educating somebody to know how to use naloxone in an emergency situation. And I know I received the training at the Art and Wind Festival last year.
Great.
I was there. So it's really important. And I just really want to extend my appreciation to you. If there's anything that comes to mind that I can share and support you in your efforts, please feel free to reach out to me or the whole council and let us know. We're more than happy to support you any way we can.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Likewise, I'll just say thank you for all the work that you do. And it was great training last month. I talked about it at our last council meeting, but in early March, you had the community outreach and education training and the naloxone kit building over at the Amador Rancho Community Center. And I know you ladies spoke out as well and really appreciate your candidness. April did a wonderful job with the instruction. We built a whole bunch of kits, and it was a great day with Seaway International, a lot of teens and some adults that were participating in that process. So just I really appreciate all that you do. It's definitely something that's alive in our community, not just opioid abuse and overdoses, but substance use disorder. It's a real thing in our community, and we can't overlook it. And so your work is important. And again, thank you. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Alice and Leisha. And please pass on our thanks to April as well. So
Definitely will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
appreciate it. All right. All right. Thank you for that report. So we're going to move on. We have no deferred consent items, item 7 or item 8, unfinished business. So we're going to move on. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have unfinished business, item 8. 8.1, we're going to continue the FY27 master fee schedule adoption and a repeal of resolution 2025-036. We're going to continue that to the April 14th city council meeting. So let's get a report by Yulia Elbow, our budget manager.
Good evening, Mayor Armstrong, members of the council. This is a very short report. At the previous March 10th meeting, council received presentation from Finance and Community Development Departments on the 2026-27 master fee schedule, 2026 Nexus fee study, and modification of the appeal fee structure. Council provided directions on the appeal fee structure, approved the Nexus fee study, and set a public hearing for March 24, 2026, which is today. Under California Government Code number 66016, the code that governs procedural requirements before local government can establish increases or changes to the fee for services. This government code requires that items be available 14 days prior to adoption, and the government agency must make all the data available at least 10 days before the meeting. Because our meetings are happening back to back, 2 weeks apart, we are asking to meet, in order to meet these requirements of timing requirements of presenting all the available data to our residents, we are requesting for council to continue this public hearing until the next meeting on April 14, 2026. This is the end of my report.
All right. Thank you, Yulia. Any questions? So basically, we heard this last time. We discussed the appeal fees in detail, and then we set set to adopt for tonight, but we need some additional
We
time.
need some additional time in order to make all of this information available with all the changes, updates, and especially as it relates to the recommendations that we receive for the appeal fee structure.
Okay. All right. Any questions by council? Okay. Seeing none, then I'm going to open up public comment on this item. Do we have any speaker cards on this?
We do. Jim Blickenstaff.
Okay. Evening, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm going to try not to repeat myself, but I think you know my position on the fees as they relate to citizens appealing to the City Council. Just very briefly, I'm glad to see there's an opportunity to speak to this more thoroughly, if you want to call it that, at the next meeting. I think that gives you time to ponder some of the ramifications. And if you have issues that you think might come up as a result of lowering it to the few $100s that the other cities on 680 charge, then check with them, check with Pleasanton and check with Walnut Creek, Concord, and see how it worked at Dublin. It seems like they've kept those fees for a while now, so I think the repercussions are very limited in terms of worst case scenarios and downsides that don't really materialize in my experience anyway. So that is something just to reaffirm a position that I think is just very prudent and common sense to make the two-tiered system, I guess they call it that, where you're looking at a fee for your residents, your voters, people that live here and have to worry about quality of life as far as their life goes, and then the vested interest, which is a business expense for them, and that's just a necessity, and they can handle that kind of pretty easy. So I think that's called the two-tier system that other cities use, and they'll have the tier for the vested interest, and then the lower tier that's not prohibitive for the citizens, and that's worked out pretty good. So I think if it works in all these other cities on 680, it can work here too, and that would be a message to the residents that when you have a problem, we want to hear from you. We don't want you to be blocked by a paywall or have some other prohibitive monetary issue. It's just an access to your elected officials. So that makes perfect sense for me, and I'm glad we'll get a chance to get down to the details of it next meeting. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
There are no more speaker cards, but we did receive written public comment from Brian Swanson, which is before you and in the red binder in the back of the room.
Okay. All right. We acknowledge that written comment. All right. Then with that, I'm going to close public comment. Do we have any comments or discussion on the part of the City Council before we take a vote on continuing this item? Okay, no comments. Can I get a motion then to continue the item and set a public hearing date for April 14th, 2026?
I move the motion to continue for next session.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Veros and second by Councilmember Adler.
Thank you.
Before we cast our final votes, anything else to say?
No, that's all. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so motion passes 5-0. We are going to continue this item until April 14th, 2026. Thank you very much. All right, with that, we're going to move on to new business. Item 9.1, Senior Citizen Advisory Committee 2025-2026 Annual Report. And we're going to turn it over here to Steve Cox, and I guess you'll introduce Colette Clark.
Well, thank you, and good evening, Mayor Armstrong, Vice Mayor Rubio, and fellow council members, staff, and members of the public. As you know, the City Council adopted a procedure for city committees whereby each committee would provide an annual report to the City Council. And tonight, it's recommended the City Council receive and accept the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee Annual Report for 2025-2026, and then provide feedback on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee for the 26-27 term. My name's Steve Cox. I'm the Parks and Community Supervisor and Staff Advisor to the Senior Advisory Committee. And tonight I have with me three-term member Colette Clark, who has served 6 years, we determined, and has previously twice been chair. And she will step up now to give the 2025-2026 annual report.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, Colette.
Evening. Let's see. Is that loud enough? Thank you, Mayor Armstrong, council members, staff, and members of the public for allowing me to present the 2025-2026 Senior Advisory Committee Annual Report. It's a pleasure to serve as a member of the Senior Advisory Committee this year. I'm a member of the Senior Advisory Committee, and I'm Colette Clark. Our chairperson, our current chairperson is Udaya Rajabadan. I always get her last name. I apologize, Udaya. Rajabadandari. She's our current chairperson, but she's unable to attend. She's serving her second year on the advisory committee, and she's come to our committee because she volunteered with the AARP Tax Aid. Sandy, another committee member, suggested she apply. She's lived in San Ramon for 15 years. Jim Junming Tu is an active in the Chinese community in San Ramon. He's currently the president of the Golden Crane community in Danville, and he is our vice chair. Jim has lived in San Ramon for 7 years. He moved here to be near his children, his adult children. Sandra March volunteered and helped run the AARP Tax Aid program at the Senior Center. She was also a docent for the Virginia Mud Gardens until they closed. She's been in San Ramon for 25 years and volunteering. Judith Murphy has lived in San Ramon since the 1970s. She retired. When she retired, she found the Senior Center a match for her nursing and healthcare background. She feels that as a resident for over 50 years, she understands what seniors need. Zena Rasmussen is currently our newest advisory committee member. He's a professor at Cal State University, East Bay, with the Department of Human Development and Aging. His specialty is Alzheimer's, dementia, and caregiving. He is a parent in San Ramon, and he's lived here for 23 years. The committee really benefits from his knowledge. I'm Colette Clark, and I've lived in San Ramon for over 40 years. I came to the Senior Center when I was 55 years old because my older friends kept touting their exercise classes. The classes were only 50 cents, and they averaged 7 to 12 people. We met in a small classroom, but we soon moved up to the second biggest room in the building. And less than 5 years later, we averaged 20 to 25 people and made it to the largest room in the building. Before the pandemic, we averaged 40 people in most of our strength and training classes, more than 40 sometimes. The cost of a drop-in class went from 50 cents to $5 in that period of time. Participants rose from 10 people to 40 people in a class. So you can see that the San Ramon Community Center, the Senior Advisory Committee, has seen a lot of changes as we've been here for a long time. Council member Richard Adler served on our advisory committee and also served as one of our chairpersons before he was called to serve in the San Ramon City Council, and we thanked him for his service. Our object and charge of the committee is, according to the bylaws for the Senior Advisory Committee, the object and charge of the committee are what guides the Senior Advisory Committee. The committee's object and charge are listed in the report, and it's in front of you. We advise the Staff Commission and City Council on senior programs, services, senior service center product policies. We advocate for senior issues from the San Ramon community, and we identify service challenges and recommend solutions to the Senior Advisory Committee. All of our advisory members use the San Ramon Center. We also encourage people to use our suggestion box. It makes all our staff members aware of what is concerning other people who use the center. Recently, a person came to one of the ukulele classes and asked if we had an extra reading glasses. She made a suggestion to make a sharing box for reading glasses, and one of our members immediately built a box, and another member supplied a lot of glasses. So that will be in shared space at our little library. We liaison with different city commission committees and also visit local senior residents, Deer Creek, Valley Vista, Aspen Woods, and Sunny Glen. We make sure that there is an encore available to them and that the QR codes are available in their bulletin boards. We do pay attention, but it's our wonderful staff that makes things happen for us. Accomplishments and actions. We evaluate the effectiveness of the Encore newsletter as a communication tool for the San Ramon's 55+ population by assessing its current usage and format. We gathered feedback from senior center users and provided staff with recommendations on improving the publication. The Encore is our main way of communicating with the 55+ community. The community worked with staff and Senior Education Foundation to come out with quarterly newsletter for its previously they were only giving us 3 times a year. The foundation picked up the next quarter, which really helps us. The Senior Citizen Advisory Committee wanted to enhance readability, expand digital access, and include more community-focused content and event highlights in the Encore. We requested the online version have a translation ability, and our senior staff, wonderful staff, was able to make that happen. Those pictures as you're going along are for things that are happened at the senior center. The people living the Live Well Senior Resource Fair, they're lining up. And the other picture is of the teen services. They come in, they help us every couple months and help us with technology. Accomplishments and actions. We collaborate with staff and provide recommendations to the development of new survey questions for the senior needs assessment, assist with outreach to gather responses, and review the responses and provide feedback to staff for senior-related programs and services. Over the course of several months, the committee met to provide questions and updates for the new needs assessment. The senior needs assessment was administered during the National Senior Center Month in September. 225 responses were collected. Senior Citizen Advisory Committee members formed an ad hoc committee and worked with the staff to refine the survey questions for better capture emerging needs and interests of older adults in San Ramon. The Senior Center is a place for seniors and community members to play. As an aside, at the Live Well Wellness Fair, 2 of our advisory members discovered they were eligible for an insurance payout from the nuclear workers representative. Neither were aware there was a program until they had attended the fair, and they attended it as an advisory committee member, and they both got substantial payouts in different years. Accomplishments and actions. I identify and collaborate with key senior-related community stakeholders, including local organizations and service providers, to develop and volunteer outreach programs aimed at connecting with seniors in San Ramon. The Senior Citizen Advisory Committee identified and connected with key community organizations, nonprofits, and service providers that support older adults. We work with the senior outreach program partners, Belmont Village, Ivy Park, Brookdale, and Valley Vista. These group provides information. It's a give and take, but they also provide little extras like ice cream for the social, among other things. The positive space is offered at the senior center for free time and reduced isolation and food. They reduce isolation and food insecurity. Review the Senior Center Advisory Committee bylaws was one of the things we did this year. And we made recommendations for changes to items such as the committee's name and meeting frequency. The Senior Citizen Advisory Committee recommended changing its schedule to meet on a bi-monthly basis per the bylaws. This allows us to meet for other months with planning of other items. And it really makes a difference going only once every 2 months. Liaisons. We call ourselves the SAC, the Senior Advisory Committee, appreciate the City Council and the Commission's liaison that at our meeting. Current SAC members also attend other city commissions and advisory committees and report back items that directly affect the community's senior population. Mark, you were one of our first council liaisons that I met, and you helped the center get matching funding to recover our furniture. It was really needed, and the foundation was finding it difficult to fund it all. The current SAC members also attend as liaisons to other city advisory committees and commissions and report back items that directly affect us. So we found that our members are having a hard time driving at night, some of us. So our members use the Zoom and the videos to watch our programs. And sometimes they say they can't quite hear the recordings. Marisol, as our liaison, we thank you for helping us and to work with us. And I know you address transportation needs of seniors. As we age, our ability is changing, and therefore we have new needs for transportation. We thank you for attending our meetings and hope that we can help out with transportation for us. Our goals for 2026-27 will help the Senior Advisory Committee in representation of the aging population in San Ramon. Goal number 1, an age-friendly community is one that intentionally designs programs, services, and spaces so residents can safely age safely, stay active, avoid isolation and food insecurity, and remain connected to the community. That will be our goal for next year, number 1. Goal number 2, we take a coordinated look at how services, partnerships, and communication can be expanded and better aligned so the Acosta Senior and Community Center acts as a true one-stop access point for information to seniors in the San Ramon community. You don't know what you need until it happens to you. We have hopes that we can be a center that one person can go to when they have real needs. For example, if they need hospice, or somebody's had a stroke, or they need home care, or any of those, that they can come to the senior center and get the information that they need. The Parks and Community Services Master Plan goals reflect and meet the needs of an aging and diverse population. We no longer run, we walk. So we develop walking loops with non-slip surfaces and provide seating and shade. Shraddha, I do know that you want a walking community for your Doherty Valley constituents, and we're trying hard to develop programs, so maybe we can work together to get them for the whole city. We address the changing needs for park and recreation facility amenities. We currently use exercise programs for all ages and abilities. There's people who are 55 who do the exercise classes. There are people who are 65, 75, 85 and up. And each of those communities need different things. It happens, and we work hard at the center. They get us different teachers for different programs, different needs. But we need city help to address transportation needs. Recently, our staff worked real hard to get a bus stop from Wheels from Alameda County in front of our center. Hopefully we can get a Contra Costa buses that get to the center from anywhere in San Ramon. We do have our van, and thank you, San Ramon, for subsidizing the program. It really helps. But as we, the city of San Ramon, go older, transportation's needs are going to change and grow, especially as our population gets older and we stop driving. Develop park amenities and events that promote wellness and community connectedness to reduce social isolation and relieve stress. Aging is not cultural. The programs are cultural. We have programming that responds to different cultural segments, focusing on multi-generational and intergenerational opportunities, and brings geographically diverse community together. We have movie nights, food trucks, cafes, music in the park. We tried. We have games and other items. We increase fitness and wellness by trying to raise programming offerings by 2 to 3 a year. the 55 plus population is growing, so it's going to have to get larger, especially as we get over 40 people in a class and there's no space for more than 40. We utilize partnerships to increase use of park facilities. We increase communications and partnerships with the community groups by leveraging their communication networks to increase awareness and benefits of park programs. We plan to look at different apps and how we can use them. Councilman Robert, I know you have younger children and your children use the parks differently than we do as seniors when we get together, but we are grandparents and we do go to the parks with the children. So it helps with a park to be within walking distance. It helps to reduce our social isolation. They relieve our stress. They increase connectedness. It's a huge benefit to all of our community, and we really do appreciate our parks. Our goals and objectives, number 3, we provided meaningful volunteer opportunities for older adults across city programs, special events, and partner organizations within San Ramon. Our newest offering is, what is your expertise? We're going to have monthly talks at the Senior Center for people to share life experiences. The first one is starting in June. It will be a garden tool talk. We're looking for people who are volunteering to speak, and it can be at any age. But if you think of the seniors, there's a lot of seniors who've had a long life and have a lot of knowledge. And so we're hoping for knowledge-based talks. We used to have a walking program, but we lost it during the pandemic, and we're hoping to change that. Parks and Community Master Plan goals reflect and is 3.1, reflect and meet the needs of an aging and diverse population. We develop walking loops with non-skid surfaces. We address changing needs for park and recreation facilities and amenities. We address programming opportunities, increase senior program offerings by adding 1 or 2 senior programs a year. We address operational opportunities. We develop, and our exercise classes have different levels, and we develop park amenities and events that promote wellness and community connectedness to reduce social isolation and relieve stress. We also emphasize program that responds to different cultural segments, focusing on multi-generational and intergenerational opportunities, and brings a geographically diverse community together. Our communication needs, we need to increase them and the partnership within community groups by leveraging the communication networks to increase awareness and benefits of parks programs. Our communication needs are pretty diverse because we have a lot of different people who have different languages, different needs, a lot of people who live in San Ramon who don't even know we exist. And so communication is important. Yeah, there's our Encore. Our best way to get our information out is to let residents know that our Encore is available, and it's on your city website. And I know Steve Cox changed it so that it's more easily acceptable. You just have to click on the Encore and you get it. But we're also going to look at apps and how to coordinate with the city staff who could help direct us. Many in our advisory committee are longtime residents of San Ramon. We've seen the city of San Ramon change from rural San Remote, which our kids called it, into a community, into one of the best cities of California. Except for our earthquake swarms, we can't control those. We look forward to the opportunity to age in place with our neighbors. While we all have different levels of income, in our high-income city, some cannot afford their own retirement or housing. That's going to be something that's going to be addressed in the future as it happens. As San Ramon population continues to grow, the demand for programs, services, and resource allocation will also increase. And on behalf of the Senior Advisory Committee, I request your continued support and investment to ensure that the city can effectively meet the evolving needs of older adults. We appreciate your ongoing commitment to San Ramon seniors. We are the fastest growing population segment in San Ramon. Most of you will be a 55 pluser soon. I'd like to thank our mayor and the city council members for allowing me the opportunity to present this information to you this evening. We invite you to put on your exercise shoes and come participate in an exercise class, or maybe come in and play, come in and participate in a game of pool, which will be reopened soon. Maybe you want to come into one of our expertise talks or just join us in our gathering place for a cup of coffee. And we're trying to build our gathering place. So maybe you can come in and help us. Thank you. If there are any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
All right. Thank you, Colette. Very comprehensive report. Do we have any questions for Colette? Yeah. Let me start down with Councilmember Adler.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It always makes me smile to see my friends from the Senior Advisory Committee and staff. I was wondering, I know when I was there, you were talking about getting new computers and everything. Did that pan out? Were you able to get what you needed?
Yeah, that came from the foundation. And the foundation is a separate group than the advisory. So the foundation raises money, and the foundation raised money and got them in their laptop computers, and they're so much better than what we had. Our old computers were, what, 20 years old at least.
And they're being utilized?
Yes, they're being utilized.
Okay.
And
And I think we had an association with some of the younger kids that had questions about computers that, they needed a little help on the, internet. Do we still have that collaboration?
When the teen council comes and helps us, they have so much more knowledge than we do because we weren't raised with computers. Last time they were here, there was a person who says, I want you to answer some questions about my computer. And the teen council person says, well, show me your computer. And they said, it's at home.
Wow.
So sometimes it works really well, and other times we have to ask more questions.
Yeah, are you able to do programs by Zoom for people that maybe can't get in to the senior center? Are we able to, I'm just thinking maybe, because I know you were doing some, I forgot, was
Zoom classes for exercise.
something talk, what was that thing you were doing?
We were
Where you have different subjects?
TED Talks.
TED Talk.
Yeah.
And that might be something that other people could observe, but just an idea if you haven't thought about it. And it'd be good to get, a walking group too. I think just a small group to go out a little bit, not overdo it, something not too long, but.
We had one group that just started. They're meeting, it's part of a meet group. They're meeting once a month as a larger group, and they're texting each other or emailing each other and saying, I'm going walking at this time, going to this place, meet me there. And they meet at the senior center and go from there. So that's starting. And Steve's been working, and Steve and the staff have been working really hard to get some of the walking things going. Insurance was a problem, so.
And you say movie night, I'm thinking maybe it should be movie afternoon.
That's movie after lunch.
Oh, after lunch. Okay. That's better for people that don't want to drive at night. All right. Well, thanks. I'll talk to you at the teen council because we sit there together. But thanks for coming and sharing what's going on. And it's such an important part of San Ramon, our seniors, and to have that place for gathering is fantastic. So you guys do a great job.
Try to get the word out.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'll come back to the vice mayor. Let me come down here.
Thank you, Colette. Thank you, Steve. Wonderful presentation. And it's not true, by the way. I do see seniors at the playground. Just last week, Councilwoman Adler and I were on the monkey bars. So, it's not just for kids.
I was there when we were all swinging.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I have my question was related to, you mentioned expert services or expert presentations. Are we still doing the tax seminar, the tax preparation? How's that been working?
That's put on through AARP.
Yeah.
And it's free, and 225 slots this year.
Yes.
And it's full.
That's great. That's great.
There's still some availability, I should say, at the end or right before it goes up this year. Tax day is April 15th. That's a Wednesday. There are still some appointments if you want to wait that long, but it is going on right now.
And so in addition to that, what other programs are you looking for? Or what has what have the citizens been asking for? I know they fill out the cards, et cetera. Have they been asking for any other expert services or talks?
Explain the expertise.
Well, we're the expertise talks, and that's where we're bringing in a senior or somebody who has a lot of knowledge
Mhm.
to give a talk, and we're doing that once a month, and they'll have a question and answer after that.
Okay.
People have asked for a lot of different classes. Steve gets cards from people all the time about what they want. The people who play bocce ball ask for the bocce courts to be fixed. And the people, so each group has different needs.
Okay.
And when the exercise people need things, they ask the city, and if the city can't do it, we go to the foundation. And the foundation sometimes comes up with our needs.
Right. Any other classes that people have been asking for aside from tax preparation?
A lot of exercise classes. We have different levels of need, and so they did a balance class. The woman who was teaching most of our classes has retired, so we're looking for instructors.
Okay.
And the instructors are really hard to come by. Steve and Susie ask all the time, and we aren't finding instructors. So we're gonna have to talk to the city about financing them in a different way so that we can get better and get instructors in.
Instructors. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Veros.
Colette, thank you very much for great presentation. I have opportunity to work closely with our Dougherty Valley seniors. So some of the things that come up from them is about the scams that our seniors are going through. It's the study says that there are around $4.9 billion was scammed in 2024 on our seniors. $1 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know your goals and objectives are fantastic. It's not like I want to add a lot more to that, but do we have any program that can teach our seniors on how to avoid these scams? Like latest and greatest is that they are even using our city phone number to call people in our community. So
We did have a talk this year from from Pac Bell, from the Patelco. They spoke about avoiding scams, and they're a bank, and they came and had a talk. And so every year we have somebody who comes in and gives a talk about scams and how to avoid them. But if somebody specifically wants them, we can look into it.
I don't intervene. I just want to mention, we do a lunch with law enforcement. So we partner with our San Ramon Police Department, and they come in on a quarterly basis and actually talk about not just scams that are affecting seniors, but scams that could be affecting seniors here in San Ramon. And they're available to anybody present to talk about what those scams are. So that's something that we do ongoing, because unfortunately the scams keep changing. And some of the people most up to date on that is our own police department. And so they make the effort to come out, and they send an officer out quarterly to come talk to anybody at our center.
sounds great. Do we publish that in our social media about this event?
With the lunch with law enforcement, we put it in our Encore newsletter. We could put it out in other means as well, but it is listed there, the date and time.
It will be great if we can. If it sounds amazing program, so I think we should publish it on other social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big supporter of Nextdoor, but maybe this is a good thing that we can post on Nextdoor, as well as our Facebook and Instagram.
It's offered
lately.
at the lunchtime.
So that will be awesome, because I'm not aware of it, to be honest, and I never heard about this program. It will be great if we can share that information with our seniors. Now, my next question is regarding the mental health, right? So pretty much across the board, from youth, adult, everywhere. So, but then do we have any programs or any support services for mental health programs for our seniors?
Currently, a lot of what we do is we collaborate with other entities in our community that are more prepared to work with mental health issues. So as again, we could be a resource and then help individuals come in, or if they're coming in with their children or their parents, and help guide them. So we work closely with our medical partners here in the city, San Ramon Regional, Kaiser, and then we also have several assisted living facilities here in San Ramon with memory care programs. And so they're also a resource that we partner with. And we do have a monthly meeting with those groups and they become a resource for us as staff and the individuals who come to the center that we can help refer individuals to if they have questions in regards to mental health.
So,
We also have
so-
a counselor from Contra Costa County once in a while, and we have there's another one that comes out, the attorney that comes in once a month.
So is it a monthly meeting or event
you-
that
it's a-
everybody can participate, or how that works?
Yeah, it's the outreach partner group, and
Yeah, that's between the usually between the members. What we do is we meet, we talk about some of the items that are facing the older population here in San Ramon, and then ask, working with them how we can refer if we get these questions to those different partners.
Okay, so if seniors want to reach out for that resources, what is the best way of reaching out? Is they need to register some program, or they just need to attend those events? How that works?
If they were to come in and ask, I needed more information on memory care, maybe for themselves, maybe for somebody else, then we've worked with those different groups and we would be able to refer them to some of those partners that we have in the community.
Sounds good. Now, few months back, Vice Mayor Rubio and myself, we met actually in the neighborhood with our seniors. I think mostly around more than 50 plus seniors attended in these events during our neighborhood meetings. One of the biggest thing that they ask is about shade structures. So I don't know if they reach out to our senior advisory committee about it, but that is like one of the top items that they were looking at. Shading structures. Another thing that they were asking about the seating support, back support for the seating. So now if they want to reach out and make sure that if they can add into one of your goals, what is the best way of reaching out to you?
Reaching out, they can email. And if you look at the senior advisory committee information, just very similar to council, they can put in suggestion, and we would receive that information there to the senior advisory committee that would be seen in their bi-monthly reports. For that, not directly in regards to the seating and shade, but I do know that the senior advisory committee had listened, I think, with some of the information you had provided last year and led to goal number 4, which is having the senior advisory committee move into the community and, go to the older adults in those areas to talk to them directly. And that's kind of what goal 4 is, to learn more about what those needs are.
Okay, so I'll definitely pass this information for them.
but the Parks and Recreation is also the Parks and Recreation Department, people who are putting the shade up. And if you come to the senior center and you sit on our benches, almost all of them have backs. And the outside benches, they almost all have backs.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the Doughty Valley, most of those benches don't have backs, so they are like having challenge. And also, as the season changes, the sun shade keep changing, right? So you have the different areas and parts that they can get sun. That's one challenge that they were asking us to look at it.
Trees haven't grown yet.
And my last question is about, this is always pops up about transportation, right? So I keep asking them that why they are not going to our community center in Al Costa. Why one of the key reasons that they keep telling us is about the availability of transportation. So that's one challenge that they keep.
We do have a van program. It's $5 each way. And you sign up ahead of time and it comes to your door and picks you up.
So is it possible for us to have a scheduled time so that they can go to that park and pick up whoever is there at that specific time, and then they can drop at our senior, whatever is that something can we do?
Currently, the San Ramon Senior Express van will pick any older adult up at their residence and bring them to the senior center, and then return them back to the residence sometime usually afternoon after the lunchtime. So if they have a City of San Ramon residency, they can be picked up, brought to the center, and that's Monday through Friday currently.
Okay. So is it $5 one way or two way?
Yeah, it's $5 both ways.
I mean, like, so
So to be picked up is $5. To be dropped off is $5 as well.
So basically $10 per trip, basically. Okay. So I think we should see if we can explore an option where we can pick a group of seniors at a location and then pick them and drop at the senior center, and then drop them back into the park. Like, let's say they all group, a lot of them in sports park, San Ramon Sports Park, as well as in Soyan Park, in those parks. Yeah.
So one other option, and just, obviously we can get more information to you, is we have the Go San Ramon program, which has a matching fee up to $5 for a trip. So if you had 4 older adults at the sports park, and they took a ride through one of the 2 major ride sharing networks, Lyft or Uber, and let's say that trip was to the senior center, and I don't have a price for that, but with the Go San Ramon program, up to $5. So if it was a $10 trip, and I don't think it's that much, but up to $5 would be matched. And so then it really becomes a $5 trip for up to 4 people to help reduce the cost. And that's geocached through different areas of San Ramon, but it does include the sports complex in the Doherty Valley.
Sounds good. Now, I remember this program was only specific area or region within San Ramon. Is it available for everywhere now?
Not everywhere, but it was originally developed to support the San Ramon Valley corridor, but through input and needs, certain areas have been added. So access to some of our medical centers here in San Ramon, but also, as just mentioned, I believe, our transportation and some of our own staff have worked to include a location like the sports complex, because we had to do, greater access for people to have and use the Go San Ramon program.
Okay, so how to find that, whether the Doherty Valley is also part of that program, Go San Ramon program? Is there a way to find out?
It is on our city webpage. And if you go to the Go San Ramon program, I believe it'll show you where the geocached areas are that it has access to. And it should be able to tell you, where the ride from is to and back.
Okay, because sorry, go ahead.
And we also have all those brochures here. I think there might even be some out here in the lobby that we can provide. But if not, we can get you those brochures for you to look at.
Yeah, because last time when I checked, Doherty Valley was not part of it. Maybe it's changed recently, or I don't know. But if it is not Doherty Valley is not part of it, is there any procedure that they need to follow so that they can get that? Or do we need to do anything to get this adding Doherty Valley as part of this program?
Well, that is part of it. I mean, it's not the whole area, but so we can show you that area and see. And then if that, needed to be expanded, I know that we have Becky here who's been very involved with that program, our transportation manager, division manager as well. And so they can look at the greater area, but we know that we have at least that area as part of it.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for answering all my questions. That's pretty much. Thank you.
Questions for Vice Mayor Rubio?
So thank you first and foremost for that very thorough and just presentation, truly a reflection of the amount of work that you've been doing for some time. So I appreciate it from all involved on that front. It's been an honor and a pleasure to truly be part of the committee and sitting in as a liaison for the past 2 years. I wanted to, some things Councilmember Veros touched on were things that I brought up during our meeting as it pertains to, I gave you the contact information for some of the key person who handles the grandparents group in the Doherty Valley, Windermere area. I gave that to you, Steve, during the meeting. And I'm just wondering, has there been any follow-up in terms of the requests made for the seating support for the shade structures? And I mentioned also that they were concerned about walking and being alone, just because they're seniors, of course, and, crimes are always crimes of opportunity, and that they don't want to walk alone. So those were 3 things I know I specifically brought up during that meeting. And I'm just wondering, I recall you saying something about shade structures being on the horizon, but if that's not the case, have any of those things have been followed up on?
I'm not certain about the shade structure component. That would be something that likely wouldn't come through the senior advisory committee. So that'd be something I can defer to the director, for Parks and Community Services as they do park planning. With the other 2, we have been in quite a few discussions and linking as many forms of transportation together as we can. So that includes the Senior Express van, that includes the Wheels Route 4 that now stops at the corner of Stagecoach and Alcosta, which gives you access then to some of the transportation in Alameda all the way to the BART station. The Go San Ramon. We also will be having at the next advisory committee a presentation by Mobility Matters. And they'll be talking, that's a volunteer transportation group. So they'll be coming and talking about what that transportation looks and access. We also did host the Contra Costa County Transit Authority and the County Link program at our center. And I believe that was 2 weeks ago. And that was to help our participants who come to the center have access to Contra Costa County's paratransit program. That allows someone to access all of Contra Costa County if they sign up for it. But we realized and heard that it was a hardship to get to the location that they had in Concord. So they came to us and had quite a well-received, reaction to the ability to sign up at our site. So they put in applications for that. And they also had the ability to sign up for a senior Clipper card, which you can do online, but you weren't able to do on site. So we have been working and trying to connect all these different components of transportation. Obviously, there's a lot to that, but then also to make it accessible to the people who come to the center. So we have been working on that.
Have you reached out to the community contact that I gave you?
Are you speaking to the one that has contacted us recently? We did have a contact with a provider of transportation, and we are.
No. I'm talking about the resident who is reaching out from Doherty Valley, the grandparents group. Did you reach out?
We did, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you did communicate with them about their needs.
We've shared some information and trying to help connect them with what's available service-wide.
Did you identify and confirm their needs?
In terms of transportation, we
Not
did.
just transportation. It's the 3 things that I know I mentioned during the meeting. And it seems that Councilmember Veros has also spoken to you about that, because these are things that were brought up to us during 2 separate community events that we had. And those were their concerns and priorities. They don't live near the El Costa Community Center, so that's not a feasible option for them. They meet at their local parks. And so what they were asking for were those things that I know I outlined to you, the whole group, and about the shade, about the need for shade because they're sitting in sun, and about the back support for seating, and as well as the safety in walking in groups and how you can help facilitate. Because one of the things I know I have been very repetitive about during our meetings is about making sure that we are not ignoring the other side of San Ramon, that they become invisible, because they're still a part of our community, a very integral, equally integral part of our community. And so I am specifically asking what actions have taken place in that regard to address their concerns.
Yes. Oh, yep. And we have goal number 4.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just to kind of see if I can answer that question. First and foremost, I do recognize, and I've heard from our staff a number of times that there are things that we want to look at for all seniors on all parts of the city. So we are continually looking at that. The question about shading and seat structure and seat backing, that is something that is included in the CIP projects that will be moving forward to the council for decision. But I just want to make sure that that is encapsulated there. As far as when we reach out to folks as a response to some concerns, we listen to them, we hear them, and we try and respond best to what they provide to us. So I think the answer to the question that you had is yes, we did respond, and we did hear what they had to say and gave them feedback or information that would help them move forward.
Okay, so we know that, thank you, by the way, thank you, Henry, I appreciate it. So Go San Ramon does not cover that area that Councilmember Veros and I represent. Unfortunately, it's South and West San Ramon that it covers. That's Zone 1 of Go San Ramon. And, you know, the seniors there are finding it difficult to get around themselves, and it's becoming quite expensive for them to do so as well if they're strictly having to rely on ride shares. Are there any plans as it stands right now to address those needs? Or what options or discussions, even if it's in the just discussion navigating page, what exploratory options are you thinking about to meet that gap in right now in service?
If the question is, are we trying to look at transportation as a whole and to see how we best serve our seniors? The answer is yes. The exploration that is multiple steps that we'd have to take, anywhere from what the county offers to what we're currently offering, what we're looking at as far as trends that are going on, not only in our area, but throughout the state. And as we look at this stuff, as we look and speak to our professional colleagues that also offer these things, but we haven't, this is on our list to look at and dive into. So I can't give you the best answer today that has the all-encompassing this is how it's going to be done, because we're really in that exploration phase right now, because we're recognizing the way in which that we provide the transportation, A, may not be the best way, and B, may not be sustainable at all with the vans that we have. So we want to make sure that what we do provide and offer to our community is something that they can do, whether we are providing it ourselves, whether we're partnering with someone to do it, or whether we are facilitating it to be done by someone else. So all of those things are on our list to do. We are looking into it, but I do not have an answer for you today that would, I think, really answer the question fully.
Understood. So you're still in the early phases, is what you're
Absolutely.
saying.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. So mobility matters. Another thing I mentioned during the meetings is that have you talked about getting copies of Mobility Matters and bringing copies of those little booklets that they have? Because as was mentioned, some of our seniors struggle with navigating things online. So I mentioned about trying to see if we could get some of the copies of those books, because the Mobility Matters has a really nice collection of all resources as it pertains to transportation and where they can go and how to access it. Has there been any communication with them to try to see if we can get some of those booklets on the front desk at the Alcosta Senior Center?
Yes, and we've invited them to come to the next Senior Advisory Committee meeting to speak and bring materials to make
Wonderful.
available. So they'll be there at the April 6th meeting, I believe.
Yeah, because I had a chance to look at that during the San Ramon Valley Village soft launch celebration. And that booklet is gold. I mean, if they have that, I've never seen, and it really addresses everything that was just asked about where there's gaps in services, what alternatives you have to close, to meet those gaps, right? It would make a world of difference, I think, for them to be able to sit with that. And I did notice that Encore does have a small note on transportation issues in your in your regular publication. So thank you. That's really good. I think it's great. Repetition is key. And as far as like the questionnaire that you have from the seniors, it mentioned you work with staff to refine survey questions to better capture emerging needs and interests. Is it possible at all for us to get a copy of those questions?
Yes.
I mean,
we wrote out ours and we submitted it to them, and then the city, the staff took theirs. There were actually, who told me there were 4 different groups that all put their questions together and then did the survey. So the survey was online.
Yes, that would be
Well,
wonderful.
written.
Because there might be things that we, I obviously attend multiple events and things that pertain to services to seniors, not just here in San Ramon, but Walnut Creek and other places. And there may be things that we can also assist with and perhaps give some support and information as well. So I would love to be able to see that and see if there's anything I can help with to connect those dots. We'll continue to work, obviously continue to find ways to get the county agencies, because I know the mayor and I sit on a couple of them, finding ways that we can continue to close those gaps and needs and work with them. So please, don't hesitate to reach out to us to say, hey, there's a specific point in need. And also if there's, even something written would make a world of difference if, as you all know, when there's an issue that we want to bring to the attention and get something moving, it really helps when we have something in writing or something that really helps us to make our case when we take things to the board. I know I've already brought it up to County Connection. The request you made, I certainly already spoke with them about trying to address that need, as well as the other surrounding areas where we have gaps in services. And sadly, right now, there's so much uncertainty because of, obviously, there's concerns about funding happening right now. So we will continue to work together on that. And I just really appreciate everything that you're doing. But as far as health services, I think SEWA has been there a few times, right? And they really did I attended that event with them. They did the bag decorations, and those are bags that are going to go to people who have food insecurity, and so that they can use them on a regular basis. And I just think it's a really wonderful program. What they did, they had some meditation and things to help activities that they're bringing into the senior center. And I think that's fabulous that you're hosting that there, because it's accessible for our seniors to participate. So thank you for everything you're doing.
All right. And I'll also say thank you, Colette. Thank you to you and the Senior Advisory Committee. Thank you, Steve, for your staff support and all the work that you do for our older adults. I think that's great. And congratulations on your reappointment to the Senior Advisory Committee, as we approved it tonight. I really don't have any questions directly related to your report, but I noticed just to kind of connecting some dots here, we had some public comment earlier today on, opportunities for AI for seniors, and I don't know what kind of feedback you get on the need for that, but there's got Ms. Bryant still in the room here, I think, that was talking about that. And then I don't know if it was Suhani Doyle from the teen council. She spoke also about, kind of, mentioned the opportunities that are and you also mentioned in your report about opportunities for our teens to get with the seniors and talk about technology and things like that. One thing that Suhani mentioned that it's not related to the Senior Advisory Committee, but in your report, you mentioned that you had one of your charges or one of your goals for the year was to review and update your charter. And I was curious, and I don't know if Steve, it may not be you, maybe Becky or Henry. I don't know who would have oversight of the teen council right now, but are we going to get a report from the teen council soon? I can't remember when that report is. And is one of their goals, or can one of their goals in the future be to review their charter as requested?
The short answer is yes. You'll be getting a report soon. So they are working on that. We're trying to schedule one that goes to the Parks Commission prior to coming to you, but that is on our radar to be coming soon. As far as their charge, I think we're looking at that with all of knowing that was something that the council brought forth. We're kind of looking at it in general with all of our groups as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And just to make a comment on, we had some comments on amenities and parks for our older adults. And, I've heard that quite a bit myself we talk about, new parks and things like that. And we're thinking about kids and playgrounds and facilities, but it's also important that those grandparents that are out there watching those kids or, things for them to do or places for them to sit and the shade structures, all this all kind of ties together. So I think it's important to kind of keep it all in context. But again, I'm going to go to public comment here, but I just want to thank you for all the work that you do as part of the Senior Advisory Committee. Thank you again, Steve and the staff. And, I recently went out last week, for the Meals on Wheels program, delivering some meals. And it was a great opportunity to kind of see seniors who can't get out to the senior center, who for whatever reason, but, they're maybe, we don't want them to be isolated also. Now, Meals on Wheels program is a great opportunity for people to get out there, deliver food, and talk to those seniors. They establish relationships with them, just because not everybody can get out and get to our senior center. Even though there's great activities, great resources, great newsletter of all the things going on.
If they can get to the senior center, they can come to the Cafe Costa.
Oh, well, of course, there's a Cafe Costa.
So it can be, if they couldn't afford the $3.
In some cases, it's more of a physical thing. They're at home, but yeah, absolutely. It's a great food service program at Cafe Costa too. So, all right. I have no other questions and really no other comments, but I want to open it up for public comment. So we're going to do that. Do we have any speaker cards?
No.
Any written comment?
No.
Okay. I'm going to close public comment. And again, thank you, Colette. Thank you, Steve, for all that you do. Any final closing comments?
It was my pleasure to present to you all. I'm glad that you give us the support we need, and our staff is really, really an exceptional staff. Everyone who comes to our facility says that, and everyone who comes to the facility says, wow, to the facility. So we again, thank you.
Well, once I turn 55, I'll spend more time over there.
We don't card, just I always like to say, so we're not going to check.
You have a final comment?
Yeah. Once again, thanks to our staff, amazing work. San Ramon Senior Center as well as Senior Services, well known throughout Tri-Valley as well as Bay Area. So fantastic work. Thanks to our advisory committee for all your great work. And I want to say special thanks to our PD, because last year, a lot of our seniors in Doughty Valley had a challenge with when they were walking. They had a chain swapping issues and chain snatching issues that happened, and worked closely with the PD. And at that time, Chief Carlson, he came and he talked to all our seniors and guided them some best practices and all that. So it's been almost 6 months or 8 months. I didn't hear anything like that happening. So thanks for doing all your great work. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other final closing comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, great. Great report. We're going to move on now to, there's no action needed on that item. So we'll move on to item 9.2, the budget kickoff presentation. And this is a presentation to initiate the FY 26-27 budget development process, providing the city council with an overview of the city fiscal model, budget guidelines, and timeline, with a presentation by Jennifer Wakeman, Finance Director. Evening, Jennifer.
But that would start with where we left off last with the city's finances. We talked about fiscal year 26 major budget.
Down at the bottom of the button. There you go.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. So for our presentation tonight, I thought I would start with where we left off with our finances last time, which was fiscal year 26 mid-year budget. And then I'll move into fiscal year 27. We'll talk about our fiscal situation. We'll talk about budget direction that was given to staff, and we'll talk about our budget calendar. So when we came to council at January 13th to present the mid-year budget update, there was no net impact to the general fund based on the changes that were made. I just wanted to review with you these numbers. We have revenues of 80.9 million, expenditures of 71.8. Other financing sources and uses, this is the net transfers in and out, is a net transfer out of 6.2 million with a resulting net change in fund balance of 2.9. So that's effectively the same kind of cushion of $2.9 million we projected to end the fiscal year with. Then revisiting the reserve calculation, as you all are familiar, the reserve calculation is based on general fund expenditures plus the transfer out to Doherty Valley Fund, and that amount is 75.9 million. Our 36% target amount would be 27.3 million, and where we project to be at the end of fiscal year 26 is 31.6 or 41.6%. So since we brought those numbers to council in the mid-year budget, there have been some significant financial impacts that I wanted to review with all of you. The first one is Measure N. So when we were evaluating Measure N and looking at the original projections, when the ballot was went to the voters, we were expecting $15.6 million a year for Measure N. By the time we got to developing the fiscal year 26 budget, that amount had been revised to $14.8 million, and that's what we used in the fiscal year 26 budget. And then as of our latest meeting with our sales tax consultant in January of 2026, that amount is now revised to $13.5 million. So that's a $1.3 million reduction since June, and a 14% reduction since our initial numbers at the very beginning. In addition, we have had a revision to franchise fee revenues in the amount of $950,000, a reduction. And as all of us know personally, fuel prices have skyrocketed these last couple of weeks. This will impact the city in two ways. It will impact the general fund with higher fuel expenditures, especially with our fleets in public works and police. But we will see an increase in our gas tax on our street maintenance fund side. And then there is a silver lining. We are seeing higher property tax revenues than we expected in the amount of about 3.5%.
So do you want to take questions as we go, or do you want to save them till the end?
Why don't we save them till the end so you can see the whole context of everything.
Right.
So moving into fiscal year 27. As we look to prepare the budget process, Yulia and I talked about, again, where we were for fiscal year 26 and the fact that we had shared that without Measure N, the city would have had an $11.9 million deficit. Because we were fortunate to have the voters pass Measure N, we ended up with that $2.9 million cushion. So as a reminder to everyone, Measure N was passed by voters to address the city's negative net revenue, and it created the time for us to take the necessary steps to balance the operating budget. So the city will need to take that period of time. We'll need to find ways to increase revenues and contain costs to balance the budget, by April 1st of 2035 when Measure N expires. And I shared the information on the previous slide to demonstrate that the city really has little control over our revenues. We're really at the whim of kind of the economic winds that are happening around us. And so therefore, we feel it's best to focus primarily on the expenditures where we have the most control. So addressing the annual deficit happens through operations. This is really where staff does the majority of the work. We will work to increase revenues where possible, and you're seeing this in our annual update of the master fee schedule, with which we are updating based on the methodology approved by council in 2024. We will keep expenditure growth as much as we can to be less than revenue growth. Achieving this will result in positive net operating revenues that can be used to fund road maintenance, deferred and ongoing maintenance of city infrastructure, and any community investment that council may wish. And then lastly, we are always looking to use available Measure N monies to fund one-time city needs. This continues our philosophy of treating Measure N as one-time sources of money and applying them to one-time uses. So when I brought the fiscal year 26 budget to council, one of the things that I had told you I would do was to begin work on some modeling for how the city of San Ramon would achieve a balanced operating budget by the end of Measure N. And again, a balanced budget being ongoing revenues covering ongoing expenditures without creating a liability somewhere else. So this is, I've taken a kind of a quick look at modeling, and that's what this is before you on the slide. We are also doing a more in-depth and detailed long-term forecast, and that will be done by with the help of a consultant, Russ Branson, and that will come to council in July. In the meantime, so the city of San Ramon ended up in the deficit position that we had because our expenditures were growing at an annual rate of 9% compared to an annual growth rate of 4% on our revenues. So in order for us to flip the script on that situation, right, we need to get to a situation where our revenue growth is greater than our expenditure growth. So what this model shows is that revenues and transfers in growing at a historical rate of 4% a year, when compared with expenditures and transfers out that grow at 2.3% a year, will enable the city to get to a balanced budget after the expiration of Measure N. And you'll see the biggest red circle at the bottom shows that along the way, we will be generating, if we were to follow this model, we would be generating annual surpluses of funds. None of these individual amounts are enough to increase the amount of expenditure growth that the city could absorb on a year-to-year basis, but it would create surpluses each year that could be allocated by council to either fund deferred maintenance or fund community investments. And one way I've been thinking about this model is using it as a roadmap. If council and the city's intention is to be at a balanced budget by fiscal year 36, this is a good roadmap for us to use. And by roadmap, I mean, here's in this second column, we have the fiscal year 27 revenue and expenditure amounts. This would mean that when Yulia comes back with the fiscal year 27 proposed budget, we would drop in next to that column our actual budget numbers and see how closely or how far apart we are compared to the roadmap that we have before us. The other way that we address the annual deficit is through policy, and this is where council takes action. One of the ways that we can do that is by revisiting the pension and other post-employment benefit funding policies. Other post-employment benefits are the retiree medical, dental, and vision benefits that we've committed to for our retirees. And an example of this would be that right now we have a funding status of over 80% of our OPEB liability in the trust, and that locks up a lot of the city's resources when we are, our operations are tight. And so one option could be that funding policy says when we are funded at over 75%, our regular operation will be to reimburse from the trust. the $2.5 million of retiree costs that the city incurs every year, rather than making the general fund pick up that obligation, just to create some capacity for operations throughout the year. Another option for the council would be reviewing the general fund reserve policy, which, as we know, would give the council the opportunity to determine what it's important to have reserves for and what those amounts should be. And then lastly, to establish, or not lastly, but another option also is establishing an infrastructure policy. And the infrastructure policy would not necessarily be just about funding, but it would be about establishing a schedule for an infrastructure replacement, and then also how we handle when we skip replacing an item on schedule, how we catch up, if you will, on that, and then also include funding for infrastructure. So as we look to set the direction for the city for staff for fiscal year 27 budget development, this chart is mainly just for the visual purpose of visualizing the difference here. But this blue line, or the most steep line, represents our 9% historical growth, right? And the green is the ideal 2.3%. And so what we acknowledged with budget staff is 9% is where we have been, and 2.3 is where we would like to be. But we also acknowledge that we are currently locked into personnel contracts and other contracts for services that commit us to amounts above 2.3. And so while 2.3 is our ideal, we acknowledge that department budgets were likely going to come in at more than that, but we asked them to do as much cost containment as they could. And we plan to bring back this slide and show you with the proposed budget where we come in within this gap of 9 and 2.3. So given our current situation, we decided to go ahead and apply the same budget guidelines that we used at fiscal year 26 mid-year. All of these, you're very familiar with at this point. No new positions or programs without trade-offs, no spending money the city doesn't currently have, and no unsustainable commitments. And then lastly, I wanted to share the fiscal year 27 budget calendar. In February, we did our kickoff meeting with staff. This month, we've been collecting information from the departments as well as putting together the personnel projections. We've been meeting with our departments, and this Friday, finance staff will be meeting with the city manager and the assistant city manager. In April, as we discussed earlier in the agenda today, we'll be adopting the fiscal year 27 fee schedule. And we will have our council budget workshops on revenues and expenses, including CIP. And in May, we will bring the proposed budget for adoption in 2 workshops. And I think the last thing that I just wanted to share is that in getting the department information back, I think, I didn't know what we would expect. It would be very easy for some of the departments to just budget as they had historically and turn it into finance and make us do the work, right? This is what we have. This is what we're used to budgeting, and make finance figure out how to make up the difference. But I will tell you that all of the departments showed up in a major way for finance, and I really appreciated them demonstrating so much effort and commitment to what we're trying to achieve. And it's not that we are, not without significant challenges still. There's still a significant amount of costs that are beyond our control: library costs, animal services, dispatch charges, for example. But I think the collaboration that we have right now is really positive. So that's it.
All right, great. Thank you, Jennifer, for the presentation. So let's turn it over to council for questions, and we'll kind of save the comments to the end after public comment, but let's go with specific questions on the presentation. So let me start with, okay. Councilmember Adler, any questions?
Well, I think how did we come up with the change? I mean, we were expecting expenditures to grow by, they were actually growing by 9%.
Mm-hmm.
And we had revenue of 4%. So, so we have a plan to address that problem, and that's got to be a plan that goes into the future. And I'm just wondering how realistic that can be. You know, there's going to have to be a bunch of steps taken to get so that, because then we're going to lose that Measure N fund. So we don't want to be in a situation where we're falling off a cliff.
Right.
So, I mean, do we have a good program to meet these goals so that we don't have the expenditures, and do we know how to do that?
Right. I mean, this is a really good point. I think it's going to be incremental steps towards progress. This is not going to be overnight by any means. But I think that if if everyone is engaged in working towards this common goal, and we use this as a roadmap where we're constantly checking in and knowing that we are, how our decisions are impacting how closely aligned we are to our roadmap, then we at least are in control of where we're going.
And then we can make course corrections. I mean, if we have the plan and we stick to it, we can really, hopefully see what we have to do in minor ways so that the end is going to look better than, if we weren't really taking these really measured steps, on a regular basis. I mean, that makes me feel good because I think everybody's going to be on board and they're going to know the plan. And hopefully we can make those corrections so we stick to that goal.
I think it will be more difficult as the years progress, right? For departments to continue to find ways to keep these costs, at the 2.3 or around the 2.3. But
right.
I think that we are smart and creative, and we will find ways if we need to.
Because it seems like the problem is that costs seem to always go up, it's, and we don't, as you say, we don't have control over a lot of these outside costs. But anyway, I like the plan, at least. I hope we can meet the objective.
Okay. Can I just add or ask it a little bit differently, maybe, because I might have missed it, but how did we come up with the ideal rate of 2.3%? That's where we've been at 9% and we wanted to be at 2.3. Where did we come up with that?
Yeah, so 2.3 is just the mathematical rate where we can grow our expenditures at a smooth rate across the 9 years remaining to get to a balanced budget.
Okay.
So
it's a goal, but
I developed it initially one way and then cleaned it up and came up with the 2.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Mayor, this chart in particular, tonight we are presenting the budget kickoff. So presenting items to the council. I admit there's not a lot of detail. There's not a volume of staff report behind this that you saw ahead of time, because this is, again, very preliminary, showing you the modeling, kind of getting the feedback. Are we going in the right direction? And then we will dive deeper into this model, provide you with all the backup data behind it. This, again, is a preliminary. I can't say that enough. Things can change with a sneeze. You could have a recession, you could have a court ruling that removes several million in funding. We could have, a funding windfall from somewhere. So this is a starting point. Hopefully we can constrain the growth to 2.3 to match this, but it's also, a decision of the council as to how we get there and what services. I would assume with this model, if everything were to remain the same, we would be looking at service level reductions most of the years to help contain costs. So again, tonight's just very preliminary. Again, not a lot of backup information, but if you like what you see, we'll dive deeper, and then future staff reports and the budgets, you'll have all the data behind it and be able to dive into it in greater detail.
And again, this is the simplified version. There is a full-blown long-term financial plan that's also being developed that has all of the components that maybe you're used to seeing in a long-term financial plan, all of the back pages that build up to the summary. And the most important thing I think to highlight with that is that I asked the consultant and I discussed when to share that with council, and we felt it was best to get an adopted fiscal year 27 budget first, so that we have those numbers kind of planted as a strong baseline before we project out the remaining years. So we are planning to bring that to you in July. But that model also shows that we essentially have to keep expenditure growth to 2% below revenues in order to achieve a balanced operating budget in 10 years. So to your point, 2.3 is just kind of the simplistic model number right now. But if revenue growth were to grow to 6%, we could certainly go to 4% for expenditure growth. But it's the concept that we're trying to implement right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going with questions. Councilmember Veros.
Thank you, Jennifer, for the presentation. I know this is, as you said, it is just kickoff. So if you have an answer, please let us know. Otherwise, that's fine. Do we know any reason why we had that 1.3 million reduction in Measure N? Any reason?
Yeah, so one of the primary reasons from the 14.8 to the 13.5 is that the auto sales that were projected for Measure N are coming in lower than expected. And that is because of a multitude of reasons: tariffs, also the expiration of EV credits, and just lower sales. So as a reminder, transactions and use tax is a destination-based add-on tax. And so if a San Ramon resident purchases a car in Walnut Creek, we don't get the base sales tax on it. But once it gets registered in San Ramon, we receive the Measure N sales tax on it.
Okay.
So that component in particular is much reduced from what was originally projected.
So is it right to say that the purchasing from San Ramon residents is reduced? So, okay. My next question is about the model that you got that, right? That looks pretty cool. Did we include in this model about our future property taxes that we may be getting from our future development as part of this model, or?
Yeah, certainly. Probably we'll update, not probably, but we'll update the long-term financial plan for more specific development information as we know it. But this was just kind of the initial first shot at how to get to a balanced budget in 10 years.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
includes.
So as we have more specific data on the revenue and expenditure side, this roadmap will get updated.
Sounds good. And now in one of the slides, you mentioned about how we can reach out to the revenue, increase the revenue, right? So do we have any plans how we want to achieve that? Are you going to present that as part of your future, or?
Yeah, so in the fiscal resiliency framework that we discussed back in October, revenue considerations were one of the items that was in that list. It did come after I had planned to talk about or to work through the policy evaluations with council first and infrastructure before getting to revenue options, but we can always change the order however you like.
Sounds good. And now, and I put my question here on slide 9. Net operating. Okay, so is that continuous increase in our slide? Yeah, net operating revenue, is that continuous increase? Because is it because we are seeing the total revenues increase, and then we are reducing the total expenditure? Okay, so
it's because since we start the reductions earlier on in the time frame, we are gradually weaning ourselves off of the use of Measure N, so that more of Measure N becomes unused as we move through this roadmap.
and also hopefully it will become potentially bigger size from Measure N, hopefully.
Right.
That will be great. Okay.
You know, alternatively, if we didn't do any cost containment at the front end, you're not going to have any excess, any net operating revenue at the front end, and you're going to have to use, you won't have any net operating revenue because you'll be absorbing it with the additional expenditures used at the front end because you didn't do the reductions to the lower level.
Oh, okay. Now, on slide 10, you mentioned about OPEB, so from 80%, but then we can get to the 75%. Is that the idea that we want to get to 75% so that we can use those funds into our general fund, or is it, you're saying that that is an option, we can keep it?
I'm saying that right now, our OPEB trust is at 80% funding level for the overall liability for everything that we are committed to for OPEB liabilities. And there is not an instance in which we would have to pay out all of that liability at one time. So it ends up being a lot of city resource that's trapped within a trust that can't be used for any other purpose. So I think that there is value in council considering a policy that says that once it's over a particular threshold, we ensure that we are using that trust to pay for the bills that the city is incurring on an annual basis, rather than having that come out of the general fund and potentially shrinking our operations more when we have the capacity in the trust. Right now, there's not a policy about it.
Makes sense. Sounds good. Now, I didn't see any pension information in this one. Like, so I know we have two pension obligation bonds. But how we are doing on our pension side? Are we, what is our liability situation?
So the pension funds, the pension plans with CalTrust are, I would say, compared to the statewide plans, are pretty well funded. I think they're in the like 70 to 75% range, which is pretty solid for public agencies. When it comes to this pension funding policy, I think that the council should consider our trust. Right now, the pension trust has about $1.9 million in it. It used to have a significantly higher balance before because prior to us drawing down on it in times of deficit. And so there may be a desire by this council to take some of those excess funds that you saw in the model and put it into that pot again, so that if we hit financial turbulence again at some point, there is a resource there again. There's not really much of a resource with a $1.9 million balance in the pension trust.
Sounds good. Also, one more thing I wanted to see is about our debt service, but I didn't see, maybe it is coming. So yeah, I want to definitely see how we are going to address that debt service, especially considering the reserves that we have versus our debt service.
Yeah. And revisiting our debt, our outstanding debt is also on the fiscal resiliency framework, because I know that there was an interest from the previous finance committee members to understand what outstanding debt issuances we had and the schedule for repayment, so that we can see when the finances for that shift. So we can also, I can bring that back as an item when you like.
That will be great. Yeah. Thank you. Those are my questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Vice Mayor Rubio.
Thank you for that presentation and update. So one of the things I agree, first and foremost, I think it might be a good idea to, especially for the higher interest rate debt outstanding debt we may have, I think it's a good idea if we have access in the OPEB trust to use that to bring down our overall debt. The other thing is, you know, when you mentioned the no new programs, I think one of the things that we should really be focusing on, whether it's our committees or commissions, is really putting a lens on making sure that our committees and commissions are identifying source grant fund opportunities. There's so many, I can't tell you how many times I've sat in meetings. I've gone to meetings in San Francisco, et cetera, different organizations, League of California Cities, and there's just money sitting there and people aren't using it. And so I really think, you know, when times are tough, right, we have to be proactive of identifying sources of funds. So if there's a way we can integrate that as sort of like a default sort of approach and policy from our committees and commissions to really look for those opportunities, I think it would be wise. And that in that sense, they begin to almost offset the cost of their own operations and perhaps even self-fund by doing, saving the city money in those capacities, right? The other thing is, I was just curious, as you did those projections were done, how did you factor in the prospective business and residential growth over time?
I didn't. I just made it, it was just a super simplified model that just took our historical growth rates and built them out.
Is there a way to do that?
It will be incorporated into the more in-depth long-term financial plan that we'll bring in July.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be really wonderful because it really allows us to see better.
Yeah.
What money's going, what our expenses are more likely to be, but also what are the likely revenues, right? I mean, this is part of the reason that, I mean, we're really trying to make sure there's going to be a balance between residential and business, because optimally we want that to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So those revenues towards the city come in. And so also looking at some of those things, I know we will be looking down the road. We've in a future agenda item about how we establish streams of funds for different things that we know we need to fund down the road. So I think, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. Yeah, go ahead.
The projection of various revenue streams and expenditure streams will be captured intentionally in the long-term financial plan.
Great, great. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to see better crystallized, but I totally understand, like, some of this information is just coming in now and, from the, updates that we've made. So I just really appreciate everything you're doing. And those were just basically just some comments and ideas that I had about that, but thank you for your presentation. Yeah.
So Jennifer, on your policies slide you had, it was, OPEB and pensions. It had reserve policy and then infrastructure policy. I thought we had I don't know if it's an infrastructure policy, but I thought we had a schedule for our infrastructure upgrades and maintenance and when we need to do things and, whether that's part of the CIP program or what, but it sounds like you're saying we need to develop that, but I thought we had that.
I believe we do have that scheduled, but I don't think that we have a policy that commits the city in any way to doing it, to implementing it.
So maybe
More
not
of a practice.
Maybe not a specific policy, but we do it. Right?
Yeah, we had a practice at one point, specifically when we were talking financing. At one point, we did have an infrastructure replacement fund that the council every year would issue an amount for, $1 million or $750,000, $1.5 million, and then staff would use it on projects throughout the city. We're talking now about an overall policy of do we replace items that have outlived their useful life in anticipation that they go down? Or do we replace items when we see that they're struggling and may go down? Or do we replace items we do essentially run to fail? A good example, many years ago, I think 15, 20 years ago, maybe not that long, but all of the air conditioning units in all of our buildings were just replaced in 1 year. And so now they're all aging at the same pace and they're coming towards the end of their useful life. Now, do we replace them based on a number? Oh no, they're at 20 years, they can go at any time. Do we evaluate them and say, well, we can eke a few more years out? Are we willing to risk losing air conditioning in a building? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into an infrastructure policy. And I think any city in the state can establish an infrastructure policy that will use up every bit of your excess funding and then some, depending on how you write that policy. So I think that's the overall view that we're taking with establishing a policy and not just a funding practice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. And I think you've kind of already addressed it. You had a question on, did we incorporate future growth or property taxes, and what about future business, sales tax and stuff like that? In your deeper model, you'll
That will
have
be in
that
there, yes.
in the bigger plan. But I'm kind of curious, you came up with a model. Is this like the magic model, the Jennifer Wickman magic model, or how did you come up with that?
No, this was just the This was just, if I had to take the limited information I have now and tell council how we get to the balanced budget in 10 years, what does that look like? How do we get there?
Yeah.
And that's without any external factors, because, once you go into the discussion about what do I include for potential revenue adjustment factors, potential expenditure adjustment factors, you start going into down a whole nother path, right? So this was just taking what we have for fiscal year 26. What is the most simplified model for how we would get to a balanced budget? And so, that's what that was purely the exercise for this.
Okay.
So it's a year-over-year escalator in this model, but in deeper models, I'll use our two examples of our top two revenue generators, sales tax and property tax. What we do when we go into a deeper dive with sales tax, not only will we look at historic, but where we are currently, and also knowing that our sales tax historically remains pretty flat with the amount of retail that we have in the city, unless you have some magical company that moves in there where they're a point of sale that generates $1 million a year, which it's out there. I shouldn't say magical. It's not mythical. It can happen, but also you can't really rely on that because if that company moves, you take that dip. So the sales tax remains relatively flat, but with the property tax, we can somewhat in a more accurate manner project about 1 or 2 years out because we know the permits have been pulled. We know the development has been approved. We know that they have financing and they're moving forward with grading and things like that. But after 1 or 2 years of property tax revenue, then you're going to start to see that more historic scale because we just don't have the factor of if something is approved, is it going to be built? We don't know. So those are the deep dives. This is a scratch the surface chart. But we will be taking you on a deeper dive into all the numbers.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Since you got this chart up, I was a little bit confused by we were talking about total revenues, that total revenue line, and you mentioned Measure N, and I thought I heard you say it's because of reduction or we're no longer going to be relying on Measure N but it seems to be increasing. Is that just the next natural escalator of, over time? But where does it show that we're less dependent on it in the calculation of our kind of the bottom line on the net revenues and the net operating revenue?
Yeah, since the net operating revenue is increasing across the 10-year period, basically anything in excess in our operations while we're collecting Measure N, we have been calling Measure N, right? We're applying our operating revenues to our operating expenditures, and anything in excess is effectively Measure N. And so you can see that amount grows across the years. So if we didn't implement cost containment efforts for fiscal year 27, we would not project any net operating revenue, right, potentially for fiscal year 27 or 28. And then you're going to see that we have to make much steeper cuts in the outlying years to get to a balanced budget by fiscal year 26 or 36. So your net operating revenue, even in those latter 5 years, is going to be significantly less because you haven't made the expenditure cuts earlier on. They're either going to be more significant or less in order to try and get to balanced.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not sure I'm fully understanding, but I can give it to you offline and better understand.
Okay.
I want just to understand how the revenue or the Measure N money ties in here over the long term. But I'm glad to see you said when you first came in that you were going to be looking at Measure N. You're going to look at a kind of a 10-year plan and seeing where, that whole projection thing. So here's a first crack at it. I know this is preliminary and I really appreciate that. And I'm sure we can get a copy of this presentation,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. No other questions for now. Any other final questions before we move on to public comment? Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Let's move on to public comment. We'll open up public comment. And who's our first speaker, please?
First speaker is Johannes Tillahan.
Evening, Giannis.
Good evening, sir. Uh, Mayor Armstrong, Vice Mayor Rubio, members of the council, thank you. I want to start by acknowledging a real leadership. You told this community the truth, that spending has grown at roughly 9% a year, where revenue has grown at roughly 4%. You put Measure N before the voters, honestly, and 56% of them trusted you with it. I'm here tonight because I take that trust seriously too. The city's own budget describes fiscal year 26 as a status quo baseline. That means we're now used the first of our 10 Measure N years without structural change to the cost trajectory. Fiscal year 27 is the year where I'd love to see that begin to change. Here are 6 areas where more visibility would help the community stay informed along the council. First, recurring general funds revenue, excluding Measure N, shown separately. Without Measure N, fiscal year 26 revenue would have been 66.2 million, essentially flat year over year. Second, a second expenditure growth rate for fiscal year 27, measurably lower than the historically 9% trend. General fund expenditures have gone from 53 million in fiscal year 22 to 71.9 million in fiscal year 26. A direction that is a start. A number makes it but a number makes it a plan. Third, a year-over-year forecast. I think you've answered this question, Jennifer. A year-over-year forecast through 2034, where Measure N expires, showing recurring revenue, expenditure, and how our reliance on the tax change over time. This is the roadmap community needs to follow along with you. I know Jennifer just showed it us. There it is, that one. But I have a huge concern on this, not from Jennifer's perspective, but from the council. I hope we'll have a conversation on this. Fourth, this is what Steve spoke about on a downturn. A downside scenario, CalTrust returned 11.6 last year and 9.3 a year before. But the 10 to 20-year average have hovered right at or just below 6.8%. I've seen the numbers, and I think the community deserves to see what happens if the returns come in below that threshold. Mind you, this year market is down 4.3%. Fifth, the total cost of service delivery, including contractors, general fund contractor service, have grown from 9.3 million to 14.1 million in 4 years, a 52% increase. City administration contract services alone went from 187 to 2.4 million to 2.48 million. The building division have nearly tripled, and headcount has grown from 271 to 279. Full-time equivalents over the same million. Okay, 2 more seconds. Are we actually leaner, or are we measuring only part of the picture? The last one, 6. The city's own strategy for growing core recurring revenue. Traditional sales tax have been flat at 13.2 million for 2 straight years. Property tax is projected flat, which Steve just said. And Measure N was already revised down from 15.7 to 14.8, and again today I found out it's much lower due to tariffs and consumer uncertainty. What is the city's concrete plan within its own authority to grow the tax base over this decade? So in closing, thank you. I know you've done a great job. She's answered some of my questions, but I hope we'll have more open discussion than 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next speaker, please.
Greg Carr.
Greg Carr, San Ramon resident. This reminds me of my 2 friends from Chihuahua, Francisco and Rocio, and their 4 kids. But I'm not going to talk about them. It would have been helpful if at the start of the presentation, and oh, by the way, thank you for this, but I'm going to add some thoughts to it collegially, okay? It would have been helpful to have had, since this is the end of the 3rd quarter of the 26-27 fiscal year, to have had the projection showing, okay, where are we going to be June 30th based on all the things we did starting back in July 1st of last year. Did all those things that were done by the staff, cut this, cut that, Measure N, all. Is that going to get us where we plan to be, or are we short? or not. That would have been the first step to show the people exactly what's been done heretofore. We come to this is a good, I'd call it a shotgun, where you put things projected out to 36, you put things in categories, you do your best efforts to compare revenue to expenditures. There's a lot of detail in every number there. Beaucoup detail. And when I hear the conversation about the capital improvement program, and there should be an acknowledgement of the equipment replacement schedule. I don't know if those are still what you call them, but those two things drive what you spend. That has to be included in here. A capital improvement program, you have to do that. Here's what we want to do for the next 10 years. That should be reflected in this. If it's not, that's a shortfall. And I would expect staff, if not in there, to have that added in as they flesh this out over the next several months. But if a person comes in here, okay, Francisco and Rocio, they just learned about the budgets. They come in here and, hey, we're doing fine. But this looks great. But in fact, it doesn't have the detail that drives the real numbers. And it troubles me because it doesn't accept the fact of ups and downs in life. So I give my 10 seconds to Mr. Utilahun.
All right. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Pascalis Natatos.
Evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Councils. When I'm listening a little bit about, as a small business owner, when I'm listening a little bit about increase in fees and expenses, the first thing that comes in my mind is what I really need to pay for. Because as a small business owner here in the city, seeing that increase every single year, I need to figure out how to support my business, how to figure out what's going to happen next year, and if the next 5 to 10 years I'm going to exist as a business. You know, we do not receive enough information, I think, from the city as far as when we see increases in expenses, what exactly will be the risk factor in these expenses? I mean, how that's going to affect every single business here, how it's going to affect the city's residents, because there's a lot of things that's happening that affects even the seniors. When I hear an amazing presentation from Ms. Clark before, an example is when we go in the facilities here in the city, everybody's paying $8 to participate in something, swimming. They go in. Senior citizens do not have any discount on that. And that's something to consider. As I said, as a business owner, last year I was looking into renew my business license, and it has variations according to how many employees you have. And last year was, if you have 2 to 4 employees, you start from $100 and increase. This year in 2026, I renew my business license, and everybody from 2 to 4 employees up to 500 employees pay $350. So I have to consider as a business, what are my expenses if I'm going to exist the next year? You know, Mr. Joanat, when the Chambers of Commerce, they make a presentation here, you ask them, it says, what drives business out of the city? What makes them close shop? So the question from me to you is, do you actually know? Can you help the small business? Do you really have a plan how the small business can stay in the city so you can actually have, so we can actually have an extra revenue and support the city's finances? So, and the second and last thing is, have you considered, because we're talking about government, and government thinks, acts, and works as a government, but is there a thought about implementing AI infrastructure, which can make the city a little bit more moving forward into that. Big corporations are using it. Why not the city? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next speaker, please.
There are no more speakers.
All right. Any written comment?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to close public comment back over to council for any final comments on this. Anything for Jennifer? Robert?
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you for the presentation. I didn't have any questions.
Okay.
Not because I didn't know what to ask. I have a million of them. But what I wanted to say, and I wanted to touch on what you said, like it's a crystal ball, but it's like nailing Jello to the wall. It's really hard to find out a right number. Since I've been on council, I think I've watched, since it was recorded on YouTube, all the prior finance meetings, et cetera, about 12 of them, 14 of them, end to end. And I could say with confidence that being here on the year, the material that I've seen here gives me hope that I know that we're going to do very well as a city to balance our budget. We're going to find a way to find a way. And I think what you presented, yes, it is a snapshot, and that's what I expect, but I will have more questions to come as presentations go on. But I have faith because now I understand that our team here better understands how they could get the answers.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm looking at is, yeah, if you turn a screw here, you let something else go here, you fix something here, you get free money here, that's fine, that's great. But what are we really trying to solve for? And when I better understand how we're solving the problem and how we're looking at the numbers and how the numbers are going to serve us, that to me helps us, at least in the future, see what problems are going to come up. Because in the past, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. And if the council went back and watched those videos, and I know some of my council members have lived through it, Councilmember Adler and I are new here, so this is our first full year. I could tell you, it wasn't like this. I know it wasn't like this. So I want to thank you and the staff and everything, because a lot of the questions have been hard, but the answers you've come up with, they have a procedure, they have a process, and there's a lot of thought behind it. So keep up the great work. And it's a challenge, but I'm just glad that there's somebody that knows what they're doing. So out there in the back with you and the team. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Adler.
Yeah, I was thinking, I know this is a nebulous subject, but, and Paschalis was talking about it, and I was thinking about, what kind of influence can we predict AI will have in the next 10 years? I mean, it's possible it could have a notable influence on our budget. Is that true, do you think? I mean,
Do you want me to attempt to
Sure.
address that
I
one?
would love for you to take that.
So I think where AI is developing in terms of operating a city is it's making our current employees more efficient. Will AI completely replace employees? No, it does not do that. What you will see in our staffing charts, which greatly affects revenue or expenditures, is less of an increase of employees. We are still about 10 or 11 full-time employees down from where we were prior to Measure N, after we cleaned up some positions and decided to remove them off the books. So makes us more efficient, fewer employees. Some cities, it's not uncommon, cities of our size with different budgets, to see 5, 6, 7, 10 people at it every year due to the growth in the city. So potentially slowing that down is the greatest use of AI.
which will help.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Veros.
Thanks for once again presentation. So the key is following future our meetings. Let's make sure we bring our community awareness about these meetings, and let's see how we can make them participate in this conversation, so that let's give them the first-hand information rather than someone else throwing a lot of misinformation. So it will be great. So let's use whatever the methods or ways that we can communicate and bring them here or watch online, whatever the way. So I would love to see that community participate in this whole process, because budget process is very critical and community participation is very important. So I would love to see that. Also, the next thing is, as the conversation came up about AI, because I'm working on AI space. So yeah, as city manager mentioned, it's still at tools, and it's not like enterprise level yet. AI is still at the tools level where you can utilize leverage. And I think we are already continuously keep working on technology enhancements. Let's continue to work on that so that we can make it more efficient. So I'm looking forward for that. That's pretty much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Vice Mayor Rubio.
So thank you again for that presentation. And I do look forward to more of the details coming forward next time. You know, AI is always really exciting. People love to drop that, like, you know, it's so cool. Let's do it. Like, we're so forward thinking. What people don't realize is the impact economically and environmentally. It is literally draining tons of water just to keep those data centers cooled. And one of the greatest threats we faced in the west part of the country is water shortage. We're going to actually have very likely we had one of the warmest winters already, likely to have another one of the warmest summers. And our drought seasons are lasting longer and longer every single time. People need to understand that with every good idea, you have to pace yourself and make sure that you're doing things in a responsible way, right? We have to make sure that with job loss that are anticipated, there are jobs created equally, and that we educate and provide education and alternative positions for people who will be impacted. When we talk about environmental initiatives, we have to make sure that as you roll these things out, that we're doing that also responsibly, not at the expense of further compounding a problem that we have, particularly in California. So I just wanted to say that, because I think sometimes there's like, people really get excited talking about it, but they forget also some of the negatives, really, really big negatives on that. So last thing, I just want to say thank you again. I think there's, you know, I think people also forget that our tax bracket is still in that mid-grade. There's a lot of cities in the Tri-Valley and in Contra Costa County that are way higher than ours, and we are still the 4th largest city in Contra Costa County. We were operating with a budget that was extremely low for the size of the city that we have here. And so, and we're, you know, the situation here, people also forget that COVID happened. You know, COVID impacted many, many cities, not just San Ramon, you know. So despite all of that, you know, I know our staff, and when they came in and took over, they really came in and dissected everything. This is how we came to find that we had that $17.6 million deficiency. If we had not done that, if they had not done that, if we had not rehired the staff that we did to do that dissection, we wouldn't even know. So, and all of this happened prior to me being on council, many of us being on council. So I think that, you know, I appreciate everything you're doing to really build this back up. I know you've taken on similar comparable challenges elsewhere and been successful in doing it. And I think it's important to have, you know, some patience in allowing time and things to come together, because it's always really easy to criticize and pick something and say, oh, there you go. You know, but that's not the way the world works. I don't know one person who's always 100% perfect. So I think that I look forward to seeing some of the details that you will bring forward, and hopefully, you know, if possible, I would love to connect with staff and just learn more along the way even before then, to make sure we have a, you know, a thorough understanding of the details as we move forward.
Great.
Thank you. And thank you again for your work.
Yeah, and I'll thank you also, Jennifer, for some great work getting this process with the budget going. And we used the budget, I think we still do, budget conservatively. We tend to overestimate our expenses and underestimate our revenue. And that's, you know, to our advantage. We don't want to kind of oversell and under deliver kind of thing. It used to be that our 5-year projections, you know, we'd be okay in this year and maybe next year, but by the time we got to year 5 in a projection, it was a pretty bleak picture. And this is a little different here. So there's, you know, and I think Measure N contributes a lot to that, but I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing here tonight. I know this is preliminary and we still got a long way to go. I do look forward to future presentations on the budget in accordance with the schedule. I know the staff works really hard with you and appreciate you giving them the kind of a shout out for all their effort and helping finances, not just throwing it on you to put it all together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hard work that's got to go into this between now and by the time we pass the budget. So I look forward to that. I hope in our future presentations that we will have some of the details in the pages, in the staff report, so we can see what's behind the numbers as well, not just sort of get the PowerPoint presentation on the day of. And I know there's a lot of reasons for that, but I look forward to kind of some of those details, and I know you'll be putting that together. So again, thank you very much. Thank you to your staff and all of our staff for helping us get to this point. And at least we got a plan for moving forward through the budget season, and hopefully it's going to come out as favorable as
we can hope for.
Can be, as we expect.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We are now, I believe, at the end of regular business here. So we're going to move on to item 10, city manager's comments and council member comments.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. A quick reminder that the State of the City and the Earthquake Town Hall recordings are now posted on the website. Both presentations are available to watch on the city website under What's New, and I believe they're on our YouTube channel as well. And I know this might be a bit early, we're about a month out, but we can't mention the annual sheep shearing event enough at Forest Home Farms. It'll take place on Saturday, April 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is one of the signature events at the farms. I highly recommend, if people haven't been there, please go to this event. It includes sheepdog demonstration, shearing, sheep shearing, wool spinning, tours of the glass house, the tractor museum, arts and crafts, and more. There will be food, tractor rides, and the event is hosted by the San Ramon Historic Foundation, and it's a fundraiser for the farm. It's a heck of a deal with the early bird registration. In my opinion, it's $10 for ages 13 and up, and for those 12 and under, $5. Doesn't seem like you can get a good quality afternoon entertainment for under that price, but it's a good deal if you register early. The early bird registration, and it's a good deal if you register late. And it's a good deal if you just donate and help the farm. So early bird registration ends on April 19th, and you can learn more and get tickets at srhf.org. That's for San Ramon Historic Foundation, for those that need acronyms spelled out. And with that, that concludes my update for this evening.
All right, thank you. And there will also be honey sales, sheep shearing.
Yes.
There's only a limited quantity, I'll say that, but so get there early, and if you want to get your local honey that's been made by the bees on the farm.
Maybe there's AI for bees to make them more efficient. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. All right, let's go over to Councilmember Schweinert.
Thank you, Mayor. So on March 16th, I attended the traffics meeting. we balanced the budget and we discussed new technology on buses. I brought this up at the last meeting, essentially helping parents to track their children, what buses they're going on, speed of the bus, where they're heading, et cetera. Also getting notification when the bus is going to be on time, when it's going to arrive, so you could take your kid out to the bus on time and not be late. The other point we discussed was offering parents an option to pay via ACH. That was not an option before, to pay with Zelle or through your bank account. It was only credit card. So now we're updating the system to allow parents to pay via ACH, which should save parents' credit card fee, which is nice. The mayor and I attended, I know this wasn't a city event, but I wanted to give a plug to an organization for pediatric cancer, Enzo and Me. So the mayor and I attended Enzo and Me. It's a fundraiser for pediatric cancer. I found out that less than 4% of federal funding for cancer only goes to pediatric care. So if you have money to donate and you find a great cause, I find this to be a very, very reputable charity. Visit enzoandme.org. And when you have a moment and donate, you're welcome. And just a couple of matters I wanted to bring up. Steve, I know we have a fantastic IT team. All shining and glowing, and I know we have the best tech, security background, but Foster City was hit with an IT breach. And for 6 days, their phone system and everything was down. And I hate to see that happen to our city, because we have, 90,000 residents, and Foster City they don't. And they were down for 6 days and caused a ripple effect across the city. So I don't know what we're doing. And I'm sure we're protected, but I don't know what caused it. But I would like to see if we could somehow get a report or something. Maybe, I don't know what we could do, or making sure that we are hardened to, and I don't know what caused it.
Right.
But
it's difficult to talk in public about what our security measures are.
Sure.
I'm happy to talk with each council member offline and maybe set up some time with IT to talk about it. But whenever there is a hit in another city, we do have IT networks of the IT professionals that communicate and say, hey, this is what happened. And then we instantly check to make sure that, however they were compromised, that we secure against it. So we do have a very dedicated team that's looking at it full time. I'm even hesitant to mention some of the systems that we use, but council uses our systems as well, and the authentication that we have to go through. So
awesome. And then a couple more items. One, I see a lot more people walking around at night, which is great for the city. What I'd like to do, city manager, is if possible, is look into maybe do a test on one of our intersections at night for fluorescent lighting on the crosswalk and stop sign, rather than having a blinking light. Maybe look at the glow stick that we used to have as kids at Halloween, something that's charged by the sun during the day, and at night residents can see and cars can see ahead of time.
Yeah, we do look into various visibility issues. We do have to follow the MUTCD, which is the municipal standards that we get through Caltrans for all signage. Usually that involves what they call retroreflectivity for the car lights, but I can get a message back to the council if there's any other options. But it does have to match that standard. If we install anything that's considered non-standard, then there's other considerations that we have to look at.
Sure.
So, okay, I can get a message back to the council about that.
Thank you. And finally, Happy Nowruz to the Persian community out there in San Ramon. It's a new, Nowruz is new day for the Persian community. It's a new year. So Happy Nowruz. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You're doing Council Member Adler.
Thank you, Mayor. Had a meeting on March 11th, Street Smarts. They discussed the funding contribution that the program uses, and Chris Weeks from San Ramon Transportation gave us a good rundown on some of the money, the grants that we have. The One Bay Area grant, OBAG 3, we get, I think we get about $239,000 annually. We will be applying for OBAG 4. We also get La Miranda SWAT We have a proposal for 164,000 for 3 years for 6 schools, which will expand under OBAG 4. We also have a state farm grant for 30,000. And, we have some school assembly programs that are happening at elementary, middle school, and high school. We will have a community bike festival on September 12th at the Iron Horse Middle School. And there'll be obstacle course, training. The police, fire, and Boy Scouts and PTA, I think will all be there. And then actually on March 30th, we have the Be Real, REEL, video contest and awards night at the Danville Village Theater, which I want to go to see that. Also went to the teen council meeting on March 17th. And Andrew Mendez from the city of San Ramon discussed the couple of programs that the teens very valuable programs, leadership and training. And they prepare for interviews, how to be a role model. And there's like 65 volunteers. They go to camps all over San Ramon. We also have the teen service leadership program and talk about local government education. And they attend a virtual council and commission meeting. And it trains them to, actually work in the summers for the recreation. They become recreation leaders in our community. And 30% of the staff, I guess in the summer, I understand, have been in these programs. So it's very beneficial. Let's see. Oh, also recently on March 20th, which was last Friday, I met with the 4th grade Weeblos PAC 841 at Walt Disney School. And they asked me to talk about, city council and how I got there and what I did before. And Andy Russell met me, and that particular meeting was focused on government and, majority versus plurality votes and how the city council operates. And I was very pleasantly surprised they had my children's book that I wrote a few years ago, and they asked me to sign it. And we did that. And then on Sunday, the 22nd, over at the Doherty Valley Performing Arts Center, they had a Linda Ronstadt tribute last Sunday. Well attended. It was a full house, great event. And I know they're going to have other events there as we get close to the summer. So that's what I did. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Councilmember Veros.
Okay, on Thursday, March 19th, I attended MC board meeting. The key item on the board meeting was about fiscal year 2026-27 budget approval. And what happened? Let me go back to my. So I just want to read the important thing that happened during that meeting. The budget was approved, inclusive of 2.05 cent rate reduction effective April 1st, 2026, and a temporary 0.62 cent rate credit running April to December 2026. And the other item was increase the communication services budget by 170K to avoid any decrease in local community and industry events and sponsorship opportunities. Actually, previous meeting, they decreased it by 175K, but then they added it back to bring back the community events. So that's the key item from that meeting. And then on the community side, on Wednesday, March 11th, attended San Ramon Islamic Center Ramadan Iftar dinner along with Vice Mayor Rubio. Great to see our interfaith groups from our community getting together and celebrate this iftar with community leadership. And also Eid Mubarak to all who celebrate Ramadan. And then on Friday, March 20th, at March 20th, attended as a judge for our Doughty Valley High School 2026 Senior Wildcat event, along with Mayor Armstrong. It was a very fun event. It is amazing to see all these kids performing the skits, comedy show, and dance, music, singing. We are very fortunate to have such an incredible talent in our community. That's my report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Vice Mayor Rubio.
So sorry, just a second. Oh, sorry, I have to make sure. So on March 11th, I attended the LAFCO meeting. Two main items. One was on the environmental planning services approval of a contract with Yuba Planning Group. They basically are an as-needed contractor that works to address various environmental issues that may be of concern under the purview of LAFCO. And then the second item was also on increasing the LAFCO employee salary range for the executive officer. That was by 4.2%. That was also approved. And then on March 11th, I also went, as was mentioned by Councilmember Veros. I attended the Islamic Center Ramadan Iftar. It was a really beautiful event. I mean, it was amazing. Just some of the people gave incredible, shared it really profound words, and it was pretty heartfelt. Then on March 19th, I attended County Connection, and we went over the Link Paratransit Service Area Policy, and basically gave guidance, direction to the staff on that, because the paratransit has been operating in this they approved an expanded route, and there's 3 tiers, and 2 of the 3 are not mandatory according to the ADA. And again, this is going back to the situation of funding for transportation. It's a problem. They need, in order for them to continue to provide the service that they have been providing at the level that they've been providing, they're going to need to make sure that they have continued funding. And so paratransit, there was, what was decided is that there would be priority on making sure that for the extended service areas, which again are not required, but has been something that they've been doing nonetheless, that we at least secure medical-based transportation, prioritize it in those extended areas, and make sure that riders continue to have that service available to them, especially for critical needs like that. We also, there was also an approval for the fiscal year 2027 marketing plan, and we confirmed the 2026 County Connection Federal Legislative Advocacy Program brochure. And this is something I'm going to be actually attending in DC, which is to restore the Federal Highway and Mass Transit Fund, enact the American Public Transportation Association's recommendations on mobility and innovation, and Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act reauthorization. So we will be taking that to DC and obviously advocating for our community there with our legislators in DC during the APTA legislative conference. Then after that, there's a Transportation Advisory Committee, which I attended on March 19th. And basically, there was just an update on the charge of the Transportation Advisory Committee. which they did a really fabulous job. They actually were so efficient and effective the first time we brought it forward to them at the prior meeting. And this meeting was basically to confirm it. And they really did a great job of streamlining things wherever they could, cleaning it up a little bit. So it's a little bit more crystallized about as to what their priorities are going to be, what the goals and objectives are, so that they can be obviously more effective and efficient themselves in carrying that out. Then on March 20th, I attended the East Bay Regional Communication Systems Authority meeting. Really there, we were just talking, I would say the main thing is just talking about finances and having to replace, update some software, because Motorola is updating their software, but the good thing is they've made it compatible back and forward. So even it buys time for, agencies to transition to the newer software. And then on March 21st, I attended the, oh my goodness, I'm going to need Councilmember Verosa's help on this. Please tell me, Ek Piala Chai? Piala Chai?
Yeah.
Ek Piala Chai. It's a cosmic cup of tea at the Doherty Station Community Arts Center, Front Row Theater. It was hosted, it literally was a month of work by several volunteers for Rewire and Narika, which is an organization that both of us actually have been extremely supportive of. And they help victims of domestic violence. And so this event, the volunteers truly, I mean, honestly, I thought I was watching a professional show. It was so good. They seemed like real actors. That's how good they were. But the funds, revenues from this event will go to benefit those nonprofits, Rewire and Narika. And then on 3/23, I attended the San Ramon Historic Foundation. I'm just going to try to focus on the important, like sort of like the key stuff. Yes, sheep shearing, very important. I have a copy here if anybody wants to take a quick snapshot. It will be April 25th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. At the Forest Home Farms Historic Park. And then let's just see. I want to make sure I just focus. We talked about the Family Farm Fest and Oktoberfest and possibly merging those two events. And just some of the details about what food would be provided, beverages, et cetera, were discussed. We also talked about briefly about the Crab Feed 2027 and the summer series story speaker events, Facts versus Myths, Jane Jennings in July 24th. And then we got obviously an update from Becky, our staff, on several upcoming events. And let's see. Yeah. So I think that's, and the only thing is I was definitely encouraged to invite everybody to come and attend, including the council, that event, which I mentioned earlier, the sheep shearing. And that's it. Thank you for the time, and I'm done. Thank you so much.
All right. And I'll just kind of conclude out the night tonight. We have such a great scouting program across the city. We saw Troop 1776 here tonight. I attended 3 different scouting events in the last couple of weeks. One was just here in the council chambers. Troop 621 came, about 14 young scouts, and we talked about citizenship, and we talked about how local government works. Also attended an Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Troop 805. This is a young scout that earned 47 merit badges. You only need 21 to make Eagle Scout. He earned 47 merit badges. Just an amazing event. And then also attended the PAC 842 Blue and Gold ceremony. I think you might have attended last year, Vice Mayor Rubio, but it's Blue and Gold event for a Cub Scout pack is basically celebrating the anniversary of Scouting America. So this is the 116th year of Scouting, and I got to be a cupcake judge as well. Also, I mentioned earlier tonight about helping out with the Meals on Wheels distribution. It's always great to get out and see our seniors, see them in their homes and see kind of their environment. A lot of them can't get down to the senior center, as I mentioned, but it's good to kind of see them and hear from them what some of their concerns are and just hear from them directly. On the 18th of March, I was one of the panelists in the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance Mayors Panel. All 5 mayors from the Tri-Valley, Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, Danville, and San Ramon. We all were on a panel at the Bankhead Theater. We talked about nonprofits, the partnership between cities and our nonprofits, and different issues, everything ranging from housing to human services to other community needs. And then on the 18th of March, I attended the Contra Costa Transportation Authority board meeting. We approved funding for a countywide smart signals project. This is for 365 intersections throughout the county. It'll upgrade existing traffic signal systems and create a signal system interconnectivity throughout all of Contra Costa County. We've already made some progress here within San Ramon, but it's all going to get tied together eventually into a countywide system. Then on the 19th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Spring Business Expo. This was over at Bridges Golf and Country Club. It was great to see some of the new and old businesses from a variety of different sectors, everything from retail, non-retail, education, service, everything. It was good to see them out there kind of exchanging business cards and just networking and displaying what their organization is all about. And that's really it. There's a couple things coming up this coming week. One is the East Bay Economic Development Awards. That's on the 26th in Oakland. And then also on the 27th, council will be getting together in a special meeting. We'll be evaluating candidates for and doing interviews for the new Sustainability Advisory Committee. So, and with that, that's all I've got. And thank you all for hanging in there and have a good evening. Good night.